Shall I describe it to you? Or would you like me to find you a box?
I'm Scar. I'm going to be playing Gunner, a dwarven slayer. And we'll see how this goes with our elf companion here. Hand it over to you, Chris.
I see Backtalker just joined the game too. I think he's in Foundry.
It's me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I am the Great Unclean One. I am taking the reins tonight to give Scar a chance to actually play. Godlike. And you may know of me from Dragon's Greed Gaming, where I have been the GM and host for the last 2-ish years, give or take. We just finished up our Gallows Geist Warhammer campaign, which lasted about a year and a half. And we're going to do a one-shot tonight. We're going to be playing a one-shot from the PDF called One Shots of the Reikland. We are playing a scenario called The Siege of Walen Temple. So I will be weaving the tale tonight with the help of our good friends here. So why don't we do some quick introductions? Tell us who you are, who you're playing, and then we will dive straight in. So, Scar, you already told us a little bit about yourself. Why don't we hop over to Pillowfarts?
Hi, I'm Pillowfarts. I will be playing the character Salundra von Drakenberg, a warrior soldier. I'm getting into character with my fabulous, fantastical hat. Attempting to spill blood and spill secrets, possibly, depending on what the outcome might be. But yeah, Pillowfarts playing Salundra von Draken. That's me.
Wonderful. And finally, Nico.
Hi, I'm Newmain, aka Nico. I am going to be playing Amorous Emberfell, the elven merchant of Kotik that is fascinated by humanity, more so their fragile nature than humanity itself. Hopefully another romance between me and Joey will ensue this time around, though we shall see. But yeah.
Cool. All right, well, we've got a small group tonight here, but I think we will have some good old Warhammer fun regardless. So we've got a good wealth and difference of knowledge here, different levels of experience to the Warhammer world, and I always like to try to do things from kind of a newbie's perspective a little bit. So
that helps.
So for those of you that may be new to Warhammer or are not too familiar with it, Warhammer is a dark, gritty fantasy setting brought to us by the lovely Games Workshop, and well, it's got a mix of high fantasy and dark fantasy stuff because there's magic, there's lots of different races like orcs and trolls and goblins and dwarves, but there is the ever-present threat of chaos. The 4 chaos gods and the dark powers from the realm of chaos, a realm, an alternate dimension, basically of pure emotion, in which many of the other Warhammer races have to constantly battle and try to deal with. The Warhammer world is a bit of a parody of our world, especially if you look at a Warhammer world map. It is very similar to how the real world is set up. And a lot of things take place either in or from the perspective of the Empire, which is the largest and greatest of the human realms. And that is where we find ourselves today as our heroes, adventurers, whatever you'd like to call yourselves, find themselves in a small village, one of many that dot the Empire's landscapes. The Empire roughly sits where about Germany and Central Europe would sit on a world map, and it is a massive place mostly covered in forests. Many large, dark, looming woods basically turn the Empire into an ocean of trees with tiny islands of cities and humanity here and there. It's a dark, dangerous place where many foul creatures and horrible magics saturate the land. But it is also home to the Empire, the greatest of human nations, led by the Emperor currently, Karl Franz, and broken into a couple provinces, each of which are like a city-state or a territory led by an elector count. The elector counts swear fealty to the Empire, but they are in turn responsible for controlling their own armies, their own military, and protecting their own realms, but also having to answer the call to arms should the Emperor ever call for it. The Empire is a bit of a feudal class society. It is very much broken up into those of poor, middle class, and rich standings, often broken up by the type of coin they have access to, brass, silver, and gold. Those of the brass tier being the poor peasants and the menial workers, those of the silver tier being artisans and merchants and people who have made a decent name for themselves and an okay living, and then those at the very top, the nobility and the very rich of the gold tier. Now, today, we find ourselves in a small village known as the village of Walen. It's one of many, many such villages, hundreds, perhaps thousands, that dot the Empire's landscapes. Now, some of these are little more than hovels filled with just a couple ramshackle buildings, while others are big enough to be considered a town, and the biggest, of course, being cities and walled settlements that have mighty castles and things of that nature. Walen is a typical village of maybe about 100 or so souls. Just a couple buildings here and there, fairly spread out, most of them only being a single floor tall, just a ground level. But like many villages in the Empire, it has a temple of Sigmar. Sigmar is the patron god of the Empire. He is the savior, the man that in some 2,000 years past united the tribes of men, won a great victory against the Greenskins alongside the dwarves at Blackfire Pass, which cemented his legacy to become the first emperor. And ever since then, after his mysterious disappearance, after he had united the tribes and turned the Empire into a single realm, he eventually became venerated as the god of the Empire. Now, there are many gods in the Empire. It is definitely a polytheistic culture. There are some major gods such as Ulrich, the god of war and winter and wolves, Shalia, the goddess of healing. There's also minor gods as well, some that are only from a certain region and others that are known throughout the Empire but not really considered, some of the bigger, larger, more dominant religions. But what you should know is that most people in the Empire pay heed to Sigmar in some way, shape, or form, especially if you're in any of the southern provinces. In the north, Ulrich takes a bit more dominance up there, as Ulrich was actually a god that Sigmar himself worshipped when he was a man. So there's always been a bit of contention between Sigmarites and Ulrichans as to whose god is more important. Both of them have very massive, powerful churches throughout the Empire, often referred to as cults, not as a mindless cult or an evil cult of, cultists, but cult in the term that is an organized, recognized religion. So, like many villages, Walen has a Temple of Sigmar here, which is, of course, the largest and most well put together building. Now, it is small by some temples' standings. It's not a massive flowing cathedral, but it is a well-built structure. Other than that, most of the buildings in Walen are a bit dilapidated, being made of mostly wood and timber, some occasionally with some stone walls here and there, especially the inn that you guys currently find yourselves in. The streets here are mostly unpaved and just dirt, and since you are in the Reikland, one of the more central southern provinces of the Empire, it often rains in the Reikland, and it has been no exception the last few days. The streets are muddy, some of the buildings are a bit leaky, and villagers run to and fro trying to keep themselves dry as they go about their daily business. Now, the group of you have been adventuring together for about 6 months. At this point, you've become a decent team of companions. Perhaps not the greatest of friends, but you've all proven your use in one way, shape, or form. All of you can fight to one degree or another. Obviously, our troll slayer dwarf here is an excellent fighter, as is our actual soldier, Salandra. And Amorous, while he's not a frontline fighter, being an elf, he is still pretty skilled with a blade, and he's even more skilled with his tongue and his quick wit. So together, the three of you make an odd but effective team. Now, we're using some characters from the starter set for our listeners here, and they are starting at around 2,200 experience. So you are very well-developed characters at this point, easily into your second or perhaps even third career. So you're not the typical schlubs that get slapped around a bit. You guys can hold your own and put up a fight if need be. But you've been traveling towards the city of Osserwald, which is northwest of Walen. You have a potential job there that you've been heading to, and you've stopped here at the village of Walen, as you do in many places, to take a break and, just get some food, get a place to rest, and then move on the next day, whether you can find a wagon train to hook up with, or maybe find horses to rent for cheap, or, as you most often do, slog it on foot. So, any questions before we dive in here?
None from Gunner.
Wouldn't be difficult for... No, nothing for me. Nothing at all.
All right. Well, the three of you arrived in Walen the previous day as the sun was beginning to set. You were thankful to make it to a village, because traveling the roads at night in the Empire, even near settlements, is often quite dangerous. And one thing you don't want is to be caught out in the dark in the woods, where horrible, strange things are known to lurk. Beastmen, trolls, goblins, and other foul creatures often inhabit the Empire's forests, making them very dangerous, and night travel even more so. So a village like this is kind of a bit of a respite. Even though Walen does not have a wall, it's not a very large settlement, even towns like this usually have a small militia to help defend if any nasties show up, so it's definitely better than being out in the middle of nowhere. So you arrived the day before, as the sun was setting, found a tavern, which is a little bit across the street, down the street from the Temple of Sigmar, and other than those two buildings, which kind of dominate the town, everything else here is just a single story, maybe with an attic or chimney here and there. And most of them are the simple homes of the villagers that call this village home. You spent the evening getting some food, perhaps having some drink, regaling about your past adventures and deciding when you should leave and how you're going to go about your next job once you get to Osserwald. But eventually, the three of you called it a night, and the village of Walen eventually began to sleep. However, that sleep is abruptly broken when you hear shouts and screams and other disturbances coming from not only downstairs, but it sounds like perhaps outside in the streets as well.
Gunnar abruptly wakes up, slides some pants on, but nothing else. Only other thing he's concerned with is grabbing his axe and running out to see what's going on.
Are we all sleeping in the same room, or is it like everybody has their own?
That's a great question, and one of the things that will show you how life is in the Empire. So, a private room in the Empire is generally fairly expensive for most common folk. Generally, a private room is going to cost you several or more silver shillings, usually at least 10 or 20 shillings a night.
Yes.
And since not everyone has that kind of money to throw around, many of them often find themselves in what's referred to as a common room, which is basically a big single room that maybe, if you're lucky, has really shitty beds, but most of the time will have things like really crappy cots or even bed rolls or straw and hay that's been laid out, often filled with lice and other nastiness, and of course prone to thieves in the night trying to steal your shit.
Just like my early 20s.
Yeah.
Hello.
Now, on the plus side, though, the common room generally costs just a couple brass pennies per night. So, for most travelers, that's where they'll go unless they've got the money to burn. So, I guess it really is up to you. If your character would have spent money to get a common room, it would have been 10 shillings in this particular inn. 10 silver.
As soon as my compatriot Gunnar attempts to put his pants on, I pull my blade out from underneath my pillow, and in an abrupt moment I go, time to wake. Gunnar's in action. Amris, wake yourself. Now, get up.
I'll check it out, Sarandra. You stay in bed. I'll call you if you need anything.
You can hear some screams from,
by the way,
outside
Yeah.
in the streets.
There you go.
As you look over to Amrish, you notice he's already wide awake, unfolding his neatly folded clothes and putting it on.
I start pulling my pauldron over my person haphazardly and go, Gunnar, it's not safe to go out alone. We go together. Better that way.
Hey, I recommend you let the dwarf go ahead.
And put your pants.
Die, doesn't he?
He wants to die, but put your pants up properly. You haven't pulled them up all the way. Go first. That's fine by me. Take your time.
I put my axe handle in my mouth and pull my pants up really tight at her suggestion, and try to answer her with my axe in my mouth.
I know, and I start to help him tie his pants on.
Now,
I understand.
Salandra and Emrys, do the two of you take the time to put your armor on, or are you just grabbing your shit and going?
I will take the time to put my armor on. Organization is key.
Salandra will not. She will immediately grab the sword and take herself and prepare alongside her compatriot.
Okay. Emrys, would you please give me a dexterity check here? So, in Foundry here, you're either going to do checks based on your skills or your characteristics. This is just going to be a characteristic, so you're going to go to your main page, and you click the number at the bottom under Dex, and that will do a dexterity check. And are you rushing, or are you taking your time to do this?
He'll take his time.
All right, so you can do the roll at plus 20. So when you make a roll, a pop-up menu will show up. You can change the difficulty. You'll see you can change it from challenging, average, difficult, so on, and those will give you various bonuses or negatives. So you can do this at average, which is plus 20. Okay, so in this game, your stats and your skills are going to be based off a score of 0 to 100, or I guess 1 to 100, and you want to roll under that. And the more you roll under, the more success levels you'll have. So in this case, you take the first number of your roll against the first number of your characteristics. So in this case, we have he rolled a 45 versus a 67. So 6 minus 4 is 2. So he has 2 success levels. The more success levels you have, generally the better, especially in combat. It doesn't always matter for tests, but Foundry does it here automatically in case we need to know. Now, if you roll doubles, that is a critical or a fumble. If you roll doubles and you passed your tests, meaning you rolled under your score, then you have a critical, which is good. And if you roll above, you failed your test, and you roll doubles, that's critical fumble. That's where bad shit happens. So, Amorous begins very calmly, slowly and deliberately putting on his, I think you have a mail hauberk? Scale hauberk.
Scale.
So basically it covers his torso and his legs. So you see Amorous begins to do that while the two of you rush out into the basically the common area of the bar.
Amorous, we have no time. It's not time to do the... fuck it.
Gunnar is notoriously grumpy in the when he's woken up in the morning early on or whatever, sleeping off whatever last night's festivities brought, and he scowls over at Amorous and said, "Oh, you might as well just stay in bed, you pointy-haired priest." And he
just
kicks
like
the door open.
Well, unlike you, Gunnar, not everyone has layers of filth protecting them.
It's true, you haven't washed in days. Maybe you should. As I'm literally just grabbing my sword and following suit behind the door.
So as the two of you exit the common room that you've been sleeping in, you make it to like the main floor, the main bar, what have you, the main tavern room. You can see that there are several people. There's not many people here, but there are several people running amok. There are some coming downstairs from the upper floor, clearly grabbing whatever belongings they have, and you can see some people running outside. You can see and hear that it's raining slightly. It's not very heavy rain right now, but you can hear the sounds of fighting from outside, and you hear various people screaming and shouting, Beastmen! Beastmen are coming! To the temple! Go! For Sigmar, we must escape!
In the moment, Salundra shouts, "Don't worry, we would fix this. Don't worry, we will fix this. We will for Drakenberg." I look over to Gunnar and go, "Was that appropriate? Do you think that the people will listen if I shout that?"
He doesn't seem to really hear your words, and you kind of look at him and you see a big smile on his face. He looks up at you. "By Grungy, did you hear that great news? Beastmen, let's go!"
I unsheath my sword and go, "Well, if nobody heard it, oh well, let's get to fighting." And I unsheath my sword and I stand next to my compatriot.
I'm running and I'm like, "This is it! This is going to be it! The valiant death I've been seeking!"
The valiant death could wait. We need to protect these people.
So Gunnar, you bolt out the door with Salandra chasing you down, your feet quickly splashing into the muddy streets, and your Slayer Mohawk starting to take on a little bit of water from the drizzle. And you can see people, there's not a lot, because again, it's not a massively large village, but there's enough people here that you can see them making their way down the street towards the Temple of Sigmar, where you can see there is a group of, you're assuming, militia trying to keep the front doors of the temple open to allow people to get inside. And both ways down the street, you can see the familiar, stinking, disgusting shapes of beastmen attacking this small village. Now, for those of you that might not know what a beastman is, beastmen are often referred to as some of the children of chaos, or the true children of chaos. They are horrible amalgamations of man and beast, often having the lower half of some sort of hairy creature with hooves, and the upper half resembling that of a man. The two of you, if you have any sort of lore beasts or lore Reikland, any sort of skills like that, you may make a roll here at plus 20. If not, you can just do a straight intelligence check.
Okay.
What was the check once more?
So you're going to look under your skills and see if you have lore. So lore will then have something in parentheses after it. So if you have something like lore Reikland or lore beasts, Otherwise, just make an intelligence check.
Oop, that's initiative.
I have lore. Reikland.
Okay. And Gunner... Okay, not quite. So Gunner, they all look the same to you. They're beastmen. They're better off dead. Whatever. But Salandra, you recognize these particular creatures as being what are referred to as ungors. They are the smallest of the beastmen, standing about the size of a small human, usually around 4 to 5 feet tall. They're wicked. They are cruel. And they often form the skirmishing vanguard of larger beastmen, and often are the ones that are pushed around in the tribe and kind of act as the shock troops or the first ones in. And you can see they're all armed with a variety of spears and broken swords, and you can hear them bleating and making other disturbing mixtures of speech and goat noises.
Yeah.
And you can see they are attacking from all directions. And you can see, some of these spears are being thrown as like javelins as people are fleeing down the street, and others have locked blades with some of the militia here and there.
I would like to, as a form of intimidation, to try to draw their attention from the townsfolk to us. Are there like any like smaller goats or bleated animal like bleh, kind of any goats close to us?
Any of these creatures, or are you talking like an actual
not
goat?
An actual goat. I would like to use intimidation regarding the goat.
Give me a perception test to see what you see.
All right. $32. 9.
Okay,
9%.
so you rolled a 9, which is really good. So you got 3 success levels, which is excellent. So you look around, you do see maybe about half a block down the street, there is a hovel that has a small rickety ass fence, and it looks like there is a couple small livestock in there, like goats and pigs.
Okay. With that, for the sake of drawing their attention, I would like to. This is just me thinking out loud. I would like to grab one of those goats.
Okay.
And draw blood from them to try to get the Ongor to take attention to us.
Are you pulling a Men in Black right now?
I'm pulling them.
Are you pulling a Men in Black right now?
Salandra, I'll let you know because you had 3 success levels on your lore test there.
Yes.
You know that these beastmen have not like rudimentary intelligence, but they are thinking creatures that are not just mindless, and you doubt that they're going to be distracted by something like that when they have active humans fighting them that they're attacking and trying to kill.
Okay, so it wasn't just helpless humans, they're actually avidly fighting them.
There are some militia you can see that have drawn, clearly they're meant to be militia, they're hastily put together whatever belongings they have, but you do see some people that have some weapons, but a lot of them have makeshift weapons like pitchforks and things like that.
So if I took a goat and I go over to my friend Gunner and I go, do you think you could just throw one of these at them? Maybe it would draw their attention. I slit the throat, you throw it.
Hold Joe. I don't think
as you're discussing this, you see one of the militiamen maybe about 2 doors down. He's fighting off one Ungor, and another one sneaks up behind him and stabs him in the back of the leg through the calf. And he collapses to one knee with a scream of pain, and the other one jams his javelin into the guy's gut.
Gunner grits his teeth. Oh, how about we just start with those 2 over there?
Maybe just those 2 over there.
I twirl my axe in my hands and grip it hard, and I glance behind to see if Amorous is with us yet or not.
Amorous is finishing putting on his armor. So here's what we will do. We'll start initiative, and Amorous will join us on the next round. So what you're going to do is, I believe you double right-click on your token, and there's a crossed sword and shields in the bottom right-hand side of that thing that pops up. If you hit those sword and shield, that will add you to the initiative track. And
there is no active combat encounter.
Oh, hold on, let me start a combat. That's, there you go. How about now? Now, if you need to see the initiative track, you can left-click on the fist in the top right corner, or you can right-click on it, and it'll give you a pop-out of the initiative. And then, Amorous, you can roll initiative as well here, because then we'll just have you join next round. And then, once you do that, just go ahead and hit the D10 to actually do the roll itself. I'll roll for both of these guys, since we have two of them here. And for those following along at home, there are many ways to roll initiative in Warhammer Fantasy, or you can just use initiative scores as well. You don't even have to roll. I believe I have it set where we're using a D10 plus your initiative and your agility bonus. So obviously, in like most games, we go from highest to lowest, and that is how we do initiative. So with that in mind, combat begins as they finish off this poor militiaman who dies in a puddle of his own blood and mud. The first Ungor that stabbed him from behind cackles wickedly and turns and sees you guys, and he points at you, says something in his dark guttural tongue, kind of like, bah! And then he hucks his javelin at, we'll do this, 4, 5, or 6, it'll be Gunner. Whoops. That's 2d6, hold on. Hey, throws it at Salandra.
I would also like to just real quick point out, Salandra did not forget her hat.
I assume. That makes sense.
She did not put on the armor.
That hat's probably worth as much as her armor. I mean,
yeah, literally.
The
ridiculous peacock, but please continue.
Yes, no, that's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, it's a ranged attack, so generally, normally in a combat, you get to make a defensive roll.
Okay.
But when it's a ranged attack, unless they're really, really close to you, or you have a shield, there's really no way to avoid it. It's just whether or not they hit you. So he throws the javelin, and he is close enough where he's going to get a little bit of a bonus here. And he rolls an 81. So you can see he's got -3 success levels. So the spear goes sailing over you, disappears somewhere down the street in the mud, and he looks upset at that and begins to draw a sword.
Gunner looks confused for a second what just happened and lets out a deep laugh.
You're not sure what he was aiming at.
We're playing Limbo. He hasn't actually successfully attacked me yet. Give him a chance. Don't worry.
Should we wait? It's only fair.
We'll have a challenge just yet, Gunnar. Don't worry.
Amorous, you can hear and perhaps see this through the open doors that they've left open as you kind of finish getting your armor on and prepare to join them next round.
Have you put your sissy pants on yet? Are you ready to enjoy the combat and blood that we've initiated?
Gunner, you are next at 13.
All right, Gunner is going to charge.
Okay.
The one that just disarmed himself.
All right. So we're not going to worry about like a battle grid in this particular fight, but I do have the tokens out here so you can target them, which will let Foundry do all the good stuff separately. So if you double click, you'll see a bunch of arrows show up, and that means you're targeting that creature. So any rolls you do for combat, it'll initiate an opposed roll, and then the creature can defend itself. Now, when you do a charge, that's an actual action you can do. It allows you to move and then do an attack. When you charge, you gain what's called a point of advantage. Advantage is one of the mechanics here in Warhammer that is very, very important. Every time you get a point of advantage, that gives you a plus 10% on all skill checks of any sort. In my games, I cap advantage at 3 per person. Other systems do it differently, or other GMs, but it can get out of control 'cause in the game there's actually no limit. So I do a limit of 3. There's a couple ways you can track that on your character sheet. If you go to the combat tab of your character sheet, the very top thing says advantage. Change that 0 to a 1. Or when you right click on your token, you'll see that it shows your health at the bottom in the green box. There's a blue box above your token. That is also your advantage. If you change that 0 to a 1, that'll change your advantage as well. And as long as you have the advantage on your character sheet or token, it'll automatically calculate everything for you when you do your roll, so you don't have to.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you, Sigmar.
Now, I have a talent of Resolute that says I get to add my Resolute level also to my charge, but I don't know what Resolute level I have exactly.
So if you go on your talents page, you'll see some talents can be taken multiple times. So say like 1 of 2 or 1 of 5.
Okay, just
that's
one
how you
then.
know. Yep.
Okay.
So you add your level of Resolute to your Strength bonus. Okay,
Yep.
so your Resolute level is 1. Whenever the game references a bonus, Strength bonus, Initiative bonus, that's simply the first number in your stat. So for example, Gunnar has a Strength of 38, so his Strength bonus is 3. So with Relentless or Resolute, you get +1, so your Strength bonus is considered 4, which Strength bonus is used for damage when you hit in melee. So, we'll put your token here to represent you're in combat with this guy. Go ahead and attack. Now, you guys want to make sure you actually have your trapping equipped on your trapping page. So make sure you check off the little box of whatever armor or weapon you're using. You can't use 2 weapons unless you actually have the 2-weapon fighting talent. Or dual wield talent, so I don't think anybody has that.
No.
And then what you'll do is you'll go to your combat tab, and you're going to actually click on your weapon. So actually, Gunnar, hold up, back up, because you want to make sure you actually roll your weapon, because sometimes weapons have stats that get added to things, and that way it'll do damage as well. So if you hit on your combat tab, hit where it actually says axe, and it'll do the roll. And make sure you got the Ungor selected too when you do this. Or targeted, I should say. Ooh, good roll. Okay, it's not targeting the Ungor, though.
15. Whew.
Yeah.
Success level 7. Let's go.
Okay, so I don't know why it didn't target him, though, but I'll roll anyway. So what the Ungor does is he makes a melee test as well to either block the attack, or he would make a dodge test to try to dodge the attack. So I did say he pulled out his little sword, so he's going to try to block here. And you always have to make a defensive roll. You can't choose not to, because if you botch your defensive roll, you can end up taking more damage. So you can't be a puss and just sit there and not take it to avoid metagaming it. You got to do it. So
don't be a puss.
No puss.
So he defends.
Wow.
He gets -6, which is as bad as it can get. It's an astounding failure. Now, if we had done this properly, it would have calculated all the damage here. But basically what happens, whoever rolls the better test wins. So even if Gunnar had failed his roll, let's say he had -2, the Ungor rolled worse. He has -6.
So he automatically fails.
Correct. Well, so when it's an opposed test, someone's going to win, even if both combatants roll lower than their skill. Even if they both, quote unquote, failed their test, whoever rolled better, they still win that test. It won't be as great. So in this case, we've got kind of opposites here. So he hits because he won the test, and then we calculate damage. Foundry's doing it here for us, but basically what we do is we take the damage of the weapon, which in the case of his axe, I think is like 5 or 6 or something here.
Hit location, body.
It's strength bonus +4. So the axe does a base damage of 4. We add his strength bonus, which is 3 + 1 for his talent. So that's a total of 8. And then you add your success levels to damage. And he has 7 success levels. That's why it's doing 15 damage. On top of that, we add the negative success levels from the Ungor, because he botched his roll so bad that he's basically adding more damage to Gunnar's hit. So 15 plus another 6 is what, 21? Right? Yep. I think.
And
so
I will mindlessly agree with you.
And the additional resolute to my strength and my charge. I don't know if that applies to damage.
I already added that in.
Oh, okay.
So your base damage is 4 with the axe, and melee weapons always do your strength bonus, which is normally 3, so that'd be 7. Add another 1 from resolute, that's 8, and then 7 success levels from
15.
that. So that's 15.
Right
And
on.
then 6 from his negative, so 21 damage. And you can see here, based on what you roll, the number will determine the hit location of your target. So I won't bother with the chart because Foundry's doing it automatically, but basically, because he rolled a 15, you flip the numbers, so he gets a 51, and on the chart, a 51 is he hit him in the body. That can matter for critical hits and other things like that. So 21 damage to the body. The Ungor now, we see if he survives this. So when you take a hit, you reduce damage by your toughness bonus and any armor that you are wearing. Well, these measly guys do not have much in the way of toughness and even less in the way of armor. And then whatever that damage is that's left, that goes to your wounds. And if your wounds hit 0, you're out of the fight, you take critical damage, and bad shit starts to happen. So, as surprising no one, Gunnar charges forward and absolutely annihilates this Ungor as he buries his axe into this thing's chest, returning the favor for the slain militiaman. So he would be dropped to 0. He's an NPC, so he would be considered out of the fight. However, it's Dark and Grim Warhammer, so we're going to roll a critical anyway to see what terrible thing happens. So Gunnar, if you go to the top right, there's a thing that says rollable tables, 3 vertical bars. If you click that, you should have a folder that says critical hits.
Body, yeah.
And go ahead and roll the body and see what you do. High rolls are good here. Low rolls, not so great. Gut blow. So you can click on this to see what it actually does. I think it opens up. Gain 1 stun condition, pass an easy endurance test, or vomit, gaining the prone condition. Well, he vomits all right, and he's more than stunned. He is dead. Or as we here around Dragons, we'd like to go, Heh!
Salundra to Gunnar. Fabulous attack. Could have been executed a little bit more eloquently, but regardless.
Now, Gunnar, when you win an opposed test during combat, that gets you another point of advantage.
Ooh.
So you now have 2 points of advantage. And we are on to Ungor number 2. And we're going to roll to see if he goes after the Slayer or Salundra, because obviously the Slayer just butchered his buddy. So again, 4, 5, 6, the Slayer. He's like, fuck that, I'm going for the human. So this Ungor, rather than throwing his weapon, charges at Salundra. Okay. And he's going to make an attack against you. So he's going to gain a point of advantage for charging.
Let's see.
And let me do my attack first here so it starts the fight. We'll see how this works. Okay, so you can see now it says targeting Salundra. So, Pillow, if you go to your character sheet and go to combat at the very top, you'll see there's a test waiting there for the Ungor. If you click on that, it'll automatically, assuming you want to block. I assume you want to block versus dodge.
No, I want to let him hit me. No,
Okay.
no, I'm going to guard.
All right, so go ahead and roll, and it'll do an opposed roll against him, and it'll automatically calculate it all for us.
So it's the attacker, and where do I click once more?
On your combat tab at the very top where it says Ungor weapon skill test, click that.
I did.
Okay. Actually, I'm sorry. Click the weapon you want to defend with.
Oh, okay. I'll defend with the sword. I just do a regular roll to this?
Yes. Yep.
All right.
All right, 21. So we see here you've got 4 success levels. He's got a -1. And then it shows at the very bottom you won by 5 success levels because it takes the difference. So you easily parry his blow, which means you gain a point of advantage. And he loses a point of advantage because he lost a test. If you lose a test, you lose all your advantage.
And where do I apply that advantage? Just right at the top, literally where it says advantage.
You can do it there, or if you click on your token, in the blue box above your token, you can change that number too.
Oh, it's good. All right, got it. Advantage 1.
Okay, and that leads us to Salundra. It is your turn.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I have the sword out. The one who attacked me, I want to put him in the mud. So
make sure you're targeting him. So I think double right click on his token.
Yeah.
Okay, are there some arrows now pointing to his token?
There are.
All right, now when you do your attack, roll your weapon. It should do an attack against him. And it did. Okay. Not great, though. -1. Ew.
Really awful.
Yep. All right, let's see if he can defend. Let's see. What's his... he's actually going to try to dodge out of the way here. And he does not. So, in this case, it's a good example. You both failed your test because you both have negative success levels. However, you failed slightly less than he did. He is -2, you have -1, which means you win. However, it's not a great hit. It's only 8 damage, so he takes a little bit of that as he tries to roll out of the way. You catch him on the body. So he takes a couple wounds, and you gain another point of advantage, though, because you did win the test, even though you didn't. You failed your own test, but you won the opposed test, so you get another point of advantage. And then we are on to round 2. That Ungor is dead. Amorous, you've gotten your armor on. You may do as you wish.
Give me a
Well, I assume I just... Yeah, as I walk out, I see a body that's more or less split in two by Gunnar, and then another one that's fighting Solyndra. So I'm going to charge up to the Ungor fighting Solyndra and attack him.
Okay, so first off, give yourself a point of advantage for charging. Make sure you have Mr. Ungor targeted. And then when you make your roll, you can give yourself +20 because you guys outnumber him now.
Okay.
Oh, there's actually a checkbox for charging.
Oh, well, you could do that too. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've only really looked at this game at the GM side, so some of the player-facing stuff I'm not terribly familiar with, despite 2 years.
I know your pain. I know your pain.
Oh,
Yeah.
So when I click charging, it actually gives 2 advantage.
Is it
That
giving you
feels-
2 or is it giving you another 1 because you already have?
No, I have 0.
That
And
is
then I click
incorrect.
charging, and it gives me 2.
That is incorrect. It should only be 1 for charging.
I'll just swap
Not sure
that
why it's
down
doing
to
that.
a 1. So, yeah.
And you gave yourself +20 because you outnumber him, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as we expected, great roll here. Ungor tries to block furiously and gets a -4 and gets 15 damage for his trouble.
Right arm, maybe.
So, Solyndra, you're doing just fine against this Ungor, and Amaris rushes out, and as the Ungor is distracted trying to not die from your sword, gets a slash through the arm. And Amaris, if you'd like to roll a critical hit as you put this guy down.
I add some flavor to how I...
Yeah, maybe you'll chop his arm.
Attack.
Or our personal favorite here, crushed elbow. Not quite. Torn muscles. Yeah, gain a bleeding condition, get a torn minor muscle. Well, as his muscle gets torn, he falls to the ground squealing in pain. And he's going to give a good old... bleh.
Can I just add some flavor to how I do it? Just this
Sure.
first. I run up behind him while he's focused on Solyndra, and jumping through the air with a twirl, I slice through his arm.
By Grimnir's beard, there was almost a respectable blow.
You couldn't have at least not gotten it on my cloak. God, I spent hours last night trying to
Don't worry.
fix it and make it look nice.
Don't worry, Solyndra. I know an ancient elven cleaning substance I can make for you later. And you're gonna... Not too bad yourself.
Don't worry. We got plenty more killing to do. I'm sure it'll get plenty more dirty as the night goes on.
Can't wait for it. Let's all prepare ourselves.
All right. So you've slain these couple Ungors they've joined the body of the militiaman in the ground in the mud, but you can still see that this is just the beginning of this, and there are a lot of beastmen starting to pour in from various alleyways and streets, and you can see that the militia are desperately making a sort of stand around the temple doors and the stairs, and you can see them trying to get as many people as they can inside. Villagers are rushing past them as they try to hold the door and hold the gate. You also see a woman who clearly seems to be leading the militia, shouting at them, shouting orders. You see she appears to be wearing what you'd imagine a road warden would be wearing. She's not on a horse, she's on foot. She's got a sword at her side, and she's trying to organize these men and women into some sort of defensive position. And she definitely appears to be the sergeant or perhaps the captain of this ragtag group. But she actually looks, you can tell, Solandra, since you are a soldier, she probably has some sort of military training. She seems to know what she's doing. Most of the militia here, you can tell, are just your typical villager who probably gets training like once a week so they know which way to point the sword.
Are we still in combat? Is this a scenario in which...
At this point, you are out of combat, so when combat ends, your advantage all goes away. But you can see that they are starting to get overwhelmed.
I immediately rush in and go, listen, please, follow through. Go inside, single file, fall through. Do not rush each other. Find safety. All of you, together, for Drakenberg. Please. There may even be drink after this all is said and done. Listen to your commandant. Thank you. And I try to, assist her.
All right, give me a leadership test, please.
I will do so.
And you can take plus 10 since you're trying to assist the other commander here.
Does that go to my modifier, or where do I place the plus 10 at? There's the advantage modifier.
Since there's no plus 10 in the drop down, just put 10 in the modifier. Don't put plus, just put 10.
All right, cool.
Ew, 95.
That's brutal.
Okay. So you have a couple options here. The first is you can just take this and deal with the consequences. The second is we can introduce one of our meta currencies here. There are 4 meta currencies in Warhammer, and this is the most important frequent one. It is your fortune points. These are on your main page.
I was looking at that.
So there's fortune, fate, resolve, and resilience. Your maximum fortune is always equal to your maximum fate. So as your fate points down, your fortune points will go down, and your resolve points are equal to your maximum resilience. So same thing, as resilience goes down, your resolve goes down. Now, fortune points are the most common. You get these back at the start of every session. Solandra, since you have the luck talent, you get an extra fortune point, which is awesome. And if you spend a fortune point, it allows you to re-roll a test that you failed, or you can add a single success level to a test if you so wish. However, you cannot change a failed test to a positive test by adding a success level. You can only do that if you actually re-roll. So if you rolled a -0, you can't spend a fortune point to make it a positive 0.
I see.
So you could either turn this into a -2, or you can re-roll, or you can leave it, or if you really want, you can do what's called a dark deal, which is where you give in to your base temptations or perhaps reach out to a darker power, and you gain a corruption point for the benefit of getting a reroll, a free reroll.
I think for fun's sake, I want to do the corruption point.
Okay.
She figured, hey, I'll just say this out loud and ask you all to go in. It failed. I think she wants to.
It's a one-shot after all,
It is. It really is.
So there's an easy way to do this in Foundry. If you right-click on the chat box where it shows your test, there'll be a pop-up menu that shows up, which allows you to do all different things. You can do take a dark deal to reroll for +1 corruption.
Right-click on my test. Which one?
In the chat log, where it says your leadership test, just right-click on that.
Okay, and then
anywhere on that box. You're going to do the one that says take a dark deal to reroll for +1 corruption. Okay, slightly...
Oh my god.
Better, but still pretty bad. So you gain a point of corruption. As we can see here, your maximum corruption points are 7. That's based on your stats. Should your corruption points ever equal or exceed your maximum, you have the danger of mutating and falling to the whims of chaos.
Understood.
So you, perhaps in the back of your mind, pray to a dark entity, or you answer a whisper you've been hearing, but it doesn't make your commands much better than when you first shouted them, and it seems that no one is really listening to you, and they continue to stream in a disorganized panic.
Mr. DM, can I hear what that little whisper might sound like to myself?
You can't make out what it says.
That's terrifying. I don't like that. Please don't do that again.
No, do it again. I
love it. There'll be more, trust me.
It made my nipples hard.
Oh, maybe it was Slanesh.
Ooh.
So you shout up. The commander, obviously, she seems what you're trying to do, but you can't tell if she's annoyed because she thinks you're trying to kind of take over her position of authority, or if she's just like, this person knows what the fuck they're doing, but at least they're trying. You can also see there is a priest that is clearly trying to motion people to get inside and, shouting, get to the temple, safety's here. You all know the drills. However, as this is happening, the woman who is clearly leading the group, she points down the street and she says, "They're not going to make it." And you turn, you can see that there is a family of 3 running in your direction, a husband, a wife, and a small daughter, probably of about 4 or 5 years old. The man is clearly injured, limping on a leg that has been perhaps stabbed or sprained. You can't tell. And he's slowing down his family, who obviously refuses to just leave him behind. And you can hear him shout, just go, just leave me, get to the church. What do you do?
Gunner twirls his axe in a fashion he does when he's excited every time. He twirls it in his hands and catches it and gets a big smile. Glances at the two of you, and you both know what he's about to do. I'm here, Wazak! He charges.
All right.
Never a dull moment with this bastard.
When he does that.
Start up another combat here. Go ahead and roll. And you can see there is a small horde of Ungors pressing down on this family, either chasing them or emerging from other hiding spots to break off and intercept you guys. So
by the way, there is custom dice for Warhammer Fantasy. You guys should get those.
Hell yeah.
No, I don't want them. I don't. Can I just say that I've had a very big smile on my face this whole time because I really enjoyed this.
Just wait.
I had a pedicure earlier today, and I'm more excited about playing this than I was about the pedicure.
As you should be.
Yeah.
All right. So, Amaris, you are first. Let me get a token here for the family. Just pull out a good old random person. This'll do just fine. So here's the wife. Here's the kid. And here is random dude. Oh wait, he's dead. Let's fix that. He's not dead yet. There we go. That's from a previous adventure. Okay, so we'll put him behind just because he is, trailing behind them. And there are, again, doesn't matter the position of these tokens, just to show you, there are around 7 of them emerging from various places. And you guys are more or less kind of, over here as they're running towards you guys. So with that in mind, Amaris, you are first. Looks like if you don't intervene, at least one of these Ungors is probably going to catch up unless they leave this guy behind.
Which one would that be that would catch up?
Just go ahead and pick one. We'll just assume it's the one you target if that's who you want to attack.
Protect the family.
I guess
Keep them safe.
I'll go for this one. He looks the closest to them. So
All right.
I'll seeing Gunnar charging in and knowing that I can't stop him to think this through, I am just going to follow and charge this one here that appears to be closest to the family to prevent him from reaching them.
Okay, well, go ahead and give me a melee attack. Be sure you give yourself the charging bonus. Let's see what happens. Okay, +3, and Mr. Ungor gets a -5. Oh my god, 14 damage. So you strike him hard. He takes a massive hit, staggering, not expecting that as you strike him in the leg and he stumbles. He is still standing, but only barely. Give yourself another point of advantage for winning that test. And he looks a little panicked and shocked. He wasn't expecting that. Salandra, you are next.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. My immediate thought is obviously headed into combat, but I want to protect the family. If it's most convenient to the situation, I will throw my person in front of any attack towards the family. So try to get in that crevice. Sure,
so you kind of take more of a defensive position
here,
then?
I take more defensive. I know that both Gunnar and Amaris are going to help me, but to deflect any combative situation between any of these shitlords, Ungor, I'm going to take the defensive.
All right. Switch up the music here a little bit. Okay. Are you helping the man move, or are you just focusing on defending them?
I'm helping helping the man move, I assume. If I have to pick him up to get them to go, or throw them to get them out of the situation, I will.
No, so you sling one of his arms over your shoulder. You've got your free hand with your sword, and
Don't worry, I've got you.
He looks at you with a look of relief as you help him, and his wife tries to get her arm, or his other arm, over her shoulder as she's also trying to guide the kid towards the church. So, yes. When you do, we'll assume then, since you're kind of helping them, you can't really focus on total defense here, but obviously you can interject if the Ungors get too close.
I look to the man with a very charismatic smile and thought process, and I go, "Don't worry, Sigmar sent me here to protect you. You will make it out safely. Me and my compatriots will make sure of that. Now keep moving. Don't stop."
Biosaurian, less talking, more moving.
Less talking, more moving.
So, Salandra, something you can do, which often gets overlooked in this game, but it shouldn't. So you can, during combat, you don't just have to make attacks to build up advantage. Basically, you can use any skill in the game during a combat if you can describe it in a manner that seems fitting. And should you succeed at that test, you will gain advantage. So if you want to make either a charm or a leadership test here to try to calm this guy's nerves for showing up to help,
understood,
you may do so.
Okay, charm or leadership? My charms.
Whatever you feel is more appropriate.
Leadership is definitely more appropriate. I want to comfort this man while also understanding that my group is also going to fucking kill these.
Okay.
I'm going to try to just console him and make him feel comfortable. Don't worry, Sigmar is on your side.
21, that is a pass. All right. Well, he starts to get a spring in his step, realizing that he might not actually die this day, and you can gain a point of advantage there, as you can tell your words have an effect. There's a hope in his eye.
Where do I fix that again? Oh, I remember. Never mind. Don't have to tell me. I got it.
All right. Gunnar, you're next.
All right, I'm going for the Angora nearest to the family.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Just pick one. We'll assume you're going for the closest one.
All right.
Did I just delete him now, or do you want to roll?
Charging in.
Oh, don't worry. My friend Gunnar, he can take care of all of this. We'll get it done. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, that's well, let's see. Come on, one of you guys can pass a test. Oh, he did. Okay, so you get a pretty strong hit, 10 damage. However, it's not like the other guy that basically exploded when you hit him. So he is still standing. You strike him in the body. So gain another point of advantage as you easily get past his guard, but this guy seems a little bit tougher than the last one.
All right.
At this point, the Ungors are all going to go. So Gunnar, one of these other ones, rushes in to try to dogpile you. One of them dogpiles Amaris. Two of them are going for the family. And this third one is going to go for Gunnar, seeing the big burly dwarf.
Yes, give me a good fight, beastie.
So all sorts of blades, and actually, I guess this guy would probably sit back and throw something. So he's going to throw at the family here. Let's see if he hits. He's just kind of tossing in your general direction, Salandra. If he hits, we will see who it hits here. So he's just going to give this a good old... Oh, wait, he's going to do... Yeah.
It sails over the family and hits Gunnar in the knee.
And then it took a Then it took a spear to the knee.
So another javelin just goes sailing over one of the houses and ends up in someone's backyard, never to be seen again.
Killing a pig in the process.
Yeah.
You would just hear it in the distance.
It's like the goat that Salandra was going to get. So he failed. This guy is going to charge Salandra. I will let you... let's see. I'm going to roll here. On a 4 or higher, he's going to attack the family.
Got it.
Otherwise, he's attacking you. Okay, he goes for you.
I'm happy with this outcome.
All right, so let me give him a point of advantage because he is charging here. Do I have you targeted? Nope, hold on. Die, human.
Die, damn it.
Oh, yeah, +2.
6.
Get fucked, son. Oh, he's going for the head, too. Better watch it.
Ooh, you're about to get a scar.
Your fancy hat.
No, don't take my fancy hat.
All right, give us your defensive roll. You can either block or dodge, your choice. Actually, you probably can't dodge because you're helping carry this guy. So make a defensive roll, and it's going to be at -10 because you are trying to hold and run this guy at the same time.
Defensive roll, is that part of my skills? Or
So just go to your combat tab, and then roll your weapon, and then from the drop down, give yourself, I think it's difficult for -10. Yeah,
I see it. Remove that modifier of 20.
No, that's because your advantage is there. It's auto.
Okay, cool. Okay, so difficulty -10.
Yep.
Rolling it. Oh,
and yep, that did it. So you try to slash your sword to knock the javelin aside, but it gets right past your guard and it strikes you just along the side of the head, doing 9 damage.
So where against my head?
It didn't hit your head. It hit like the side of your head, like if you're wearing glasses, right where the arm of your glasses would be.
So my hat, right?
No, the hat has survived.
Okay, thank Christ.
But just barely.
Sigmar.
But the feather's getting a little dilapidated from all the rain.
I'm heated. Can I get like?
So first thing, we're going to do damage. So you take 9 damage to the head. Now you don't have any armor on your head right now.
No, I did not put the armor on before I left.
So all you're going to do is reduce it by your toughness bonus. You'll see that either if you go to your main tab, the first number of your toughness, or on your combat tab, the green number. You can see it's broken into your locations. The green number is your toughness bonus. The gold number, brown number is your armor, which...
And I reduce it by how much?
By whatever that number is. So in your case, your toughness is 3, so you reduce that 9 to 6. And then on your main tab, you'll see your total wounds on the right-hand side. So reduce your wounds by 6.
Reduce my wounds by 6.
Yeah, you can do that math. I'm not doing that for you.
Don't worry. Yeah. So 13 minus 6.
Yeah. If there's any of my listeners here, they know that I use a calculator all the fucking time because I can't do simple math in my head.
I can't either, so I literally call upon the gods for a moment to do
the gods of smartphones.
The gods of my many stupid consultants in my brain to help me.
Now, Solandra, aside from that, the Ungor gains another point of advantage because he won the test, and you lose all of your advantage because you lost an opposed test or you took damage.
Understood.
So,
get rid of all the advantage.
Yes. Okay, Gunner. Well, we'll do the elf first here. The injured one strikes out at you, Amaris. We'll assume he attacks before the other guy shows up, so he doesn't have the outnumbering bonus here. Yeah. Oh, critical fumble. That's not good. Go ahead and defend yourself.
Oh, boy.
We're getting lucky off the bat tonight.
Keep them alive. Don't let them die.
Just challenging since I'm not outnumbered, right?
Correct, yeah. Okay, so you block, gain yourself a point of advantage, and we'll see here he rolled doubles. So again, we have either a critical or a fumble. Since he failed his test, he has negative success levels, and he rolled a doubles, he has a fumble, which is bad. So I can click on this thing that says fumble, and we're going to see what exactly happens. 24 is going to be, you catch a part of your anatomy, lose 1 wound ignoring toughness or armor bonuses. Well, your luck continues as he stabs himself, slipping in the mud, and basically impales himself on his spear. And we get a good old... He only had 1 wound remaining.
Impalement kind of.
Wow.
It would appear Lilith is on my side today.
These aren't the most skill Ungor so far.
Yep. Okay, other Ungor comes in charging. He's got 1 advantage, but I think Amaris is max at advantage right now. So a prayer. Where'd the roll go? Uh-oh.
Success.
Marginal success.
To Sigmar, I'm going to drink.
I think my Foundry's lagging a little bit here. Go ahead and make your defensive roll, please. Oh, there we go. Okay, that pulled it out. All right, well, yep, just barely, but you do block. You got 2 success levels. He's got
Nice.
1. So he loses his advantage. You don't get any more because you're maxed out at 3, but you easily parry his blow as you watch his friend just slip and end his own life.
With my luck, advantage could get really out of hand, so thanks for capping it, because my luck is dumb sometimes.
Yeah, we didn't do that when the party fought a troll in my game, and the elf wizard had like 12 advantage, and then just one-shot the troll with a lightning bolt. We're like, that doesn't seem like it makes a whole lot of sense.
Knowing my luck, I would get that up to like fucking 50 at some point.
But Amaris, you're so lucky because you have me.
No, I'm lucky because the goddess Lilith is on my side.
Why would you take this from me?
All right, Gunner, the injured Ungor strikes back. He has 0 positive success levels.
Okay.
You can't tell what he's saying, but he's clearly calling for his 2 friends to come help.
Where do you roll your defense again under skills?
Just make a weapon attack. Whichever weapon you want to defend with, or you make a dodge roll, which is a skill, your choice.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. So we have a tie. So just barely. Gunner rolls right on the money, getting 0 success levels. In this case, when we have a tie, the tiebreaker is whoever has the higher weapon skill. We can already see here Foundry's calculating that. To no one's surprise, the Dwarf Slayer has a higher weapon skill than the Ungor. So you block the attack, you gain another point of advantage, and then you find yourself being charged by other Ungors. So the first Ungor from the left charges in. He's going to have plus 20 because at this point it's 2-on-1 as they now outnumber you. So I'll give him a bonus here. Let's see if he can make anything happen. Ooh, plus 5. He's trying. Oh, critical failure. All right, Gunner, do you have any fortune points?
Fuck it up.
Don't I start with can I like a fate?
Well, you can use a fortune point to reroll. Fate are like permanent. Once they're gone forever. And fate can help you avoid dying.
I have 1 fortune point. I will burn that. Yes.
Different species, so elves, humans, elves, dwarves, humans, and halflings have different amounts of those meta currencies. So, all right, you're going to use it. So right-click on your test that you failed, and then do a reroll for fortune. Make sure you have a fortune point though before you do it.
I did. I don't see the reroll for fortune option though.
That's because you have 0 fortune right now. So go back to your main tab and give yourself a fortune point back. You can right or left click to make the numbers go up and down. Now it should show up when you right click.
There we go.
Oh, wow. He turns it from a critical fumble to a critical success. All right. So not only do you score 7 damage to his body, but you get a critical. So go ahead and hit that critical there and see what terrible thing happens to the Ungor. Stubbed toe. All right, not very good. He has to make an endurance test or he gets a negative. All right.
I forgot the comedic aspects of this game.
Okay, let me make him do an what is it? Endurance test? Okay. And he gets plus 20. Let's see what happens here. He failed. So he gets minus 10 on agility, and he takes an extra wound on top of that. So that extra wound from the critical, that does not get reduced by any of his damage reduction.
A fortune well spent.
He got a stubbed toe.
Doesn't he have clothed hooves? Or?
Yeah, he got a stubbed hoof.
He got a stubbed hoof.
As the Ungor is attacking the goat with the spear impaled in it, runs across his toes.
All right, let me mark the damage off on him. How much do you did? 8 damage total. All right.
Normally seeing somebody hit their foot across like a corner or something like that looks like painful, but...
All right, the last Ungor charges in, and he has plus 40 because it's 3-on-1. Let's see if he can do anything. Okay, plus 6. Dude, they want you dead.
Ooh.
Gunner, can he do it? Oh, no way! Another critical. Well, go ahead and roll.
That's my body gunner.
Oh yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
Gaping arm wound. Yeah.
Gain 2 bleeding conditions until you receive surgery. Damage you receive inflicts another one. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I can drag this onto his character sheet, which will do all that crazy stuff. So bleeding conditions, for every bleeding condition you have, you lose 1 wound at the end of the round. So he's going to lose 2 wounds every turn until somebody fixes that up, which probably isn't going to happen. And he takes 7 damage on top of that. This Ungor is regretting his decision right now a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make him have a cool test to see if he stays and fights after that, because he's like, this wasn't a great idea. He does pass. He holds his nerve. And we're back at the start of round 2. Amris.
Well, I'm gonna as I was watching Gunnar get fucking attacked and somehow turning around every attack,
he's doing his usual, just whirlwind of death.
He's letting them have it.
It seems fortune favors us both here. And then I'm going to turn around to attack this other Ungor on my ass. Let's go.
Ungor, really good roll, 29. He blocks. He passes, but he takes 12 damage to the head. He's not down, but that really seems to shake him up and kind of stun him a little bit as he's a little wobbly. Well done. Salandra, there's an Ungor stabbing at you. What do you do?
I immediately, again, take a defensive position in front of the family and kind of almost like full body movement, swipe my sword in front of them and take a combative position and attempt to kill them, literally, to defend the family.
This thing is totally focused on you. It's not attacking the family.
All right, cool.
Now, so
there's no challenge. There's no challenge rating, difficulty, or anything like that. It's just roll for it.
Straight up. He's got some advantage here, but that's a decent roll. Okay. I forgot to target him. That's all right.
My fault. I'm sorry.
He has +3, so he blocks your attack just barely, and he is now capped out at advantage.
Oh God!
He chuckles wickedly as he prepares to gut you. Gunnar, your turn.
All right.
All of these Ungors are hurt and bleeding, and I forgot to give this guy bleeding wounds. Hold on. Oh, he's fucked up too. Yeah, they're all looking like they'd rather be somewhere else right now.
Well, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll just keep hacking away. We'll do this guy. No longer charging. It already counts in my
advantage.
Advantage, right? Okay.
Yeah. So about that. Oh, poor Ungor. All right.
That's a lot.
Nice. He rolled a 69. 16 damage. The Ungor just ceases to exist. You know what that means. He dead.
The sound is getting more ridiculous each time you do it.
Who's next, Wazix?
I think, well, let's see what they do this round. They look, the two kind of look at each other like, should we keep fighting this guy? He's kind of killing everybody, but they decide to stick with it for now.
Gunnar, show them your specific specialties.
Oh,
maybe
boy.
they would be terrified.
I can't. My pants are still on.
Okay, well, you don't, maybe just cut them in half or something, and instead, these people need to be left to safety. We need to make sure that they're safe, first and foremost, and then cut them afterwards. I would assume.
Yes, sir, and didn't I say less talking, more fighting?
Yeah, you don't have time to be giving a monologue. Gunnar, you're at negative, and this guy's attacking you with -3.
Oh, sorry. I did not see that.
Less talking, more fighting.
Yeah, you get stabbed because you're too busy listening to Salandra.
12.
Okay, you block. Yep, that's about right. Other Ungor, he's like, why are we even doing this, man? I got a gaping arm wound.
I get a gape.
He wants you dead. +3. That's as good as you can get for the Ungor. +3.
Dog,
that's not good.
Oh,
They got
okay.
I'm looking after.
Good old Gape, gotcha. So he hits. You lose all your advantage. He gains 1, and you take a whopping 7 damage to the body. So we know you're a Slayer. You're not wearing armor, so just check on your combat tab. It'll show how much damage reduction you have, which is going to be your toughness bonus. It's going to be the number in the green circle.
My body is 5.
Yeah, it'll be the same because it's just your toughness bonus. That's for all locations. So reduce that 7 to 2 and apply that to your wounds, which is on your first page.
All right.
And then we are on to Amris. This guy's going to attack you. He Gets a -5. Okay, pretty cool. Go ahead and defend yourself, please.
I popped out my character sheet and it's decided to disappear. Hold on. Okay. Julio.
Ooh, almost a critical. But you still block. Yep, he's not doing great. This one keeps attacking you, Salandra. It senses it has the advantage, and it's going to try to kill you.
Please come at
and
me.
it rolls a -0. Okay, pretty good. Way to put that advantage to work, buddy.
Bruh, Ungor and this are just as useless as in Total War.
Am I meant to roll against this?
Yeah, well, yeah. Defend yourself, please.
Combat. There we go.
In Total War, I actually did an Ungor only army one time, and through sheer numbers, I managed to actually win.
I have 0 advantage, right? Because
Correct.
it was earlier. So I just apply damage, or
You just roll your weapon.
Oh,
It'll
sorry.
defend yourself.
completely forgot. Sorry.
What would you do with an only Ungor army? Did like majority armies just standing around the other army waiting for their turn?
Well, you have to be smart and position them in such a way that you can attack from 4 different directions at once. You basically have to do flanking maneuvers.
Impressive
hardcore.
success.
Yeah, well done. So you get your shit together, you block, he loses all his advantage, and you gain a point of advantage, and he's not looking so cocky right now. This last Ungor who threw his spear is kind of watching all this devolve, and I think he's going to make an intelligence check here. He's like, not doing it.
Stunning failure.
Yeah, he pieces out. He's like, no, I'm not going to suffer the same fate. He goes,
May I add flavor to this?
Sure.
As I'm trying to protect the family who is trying to run away, I kind of just not even paying attention wholeheartedly. It's more of like a reaction, like an involuntary reaction. As I block and whip my arm around, I scrape the dirt off to the ground and look at him with just dead fish eyes as I go, just don't try.
Well, he thinks the better, and he takes off. At the start of the round, the one Ungor next to you, Gunner, that is bleeding, collapses to the ground from blood loss. And he just hits the ground with a thud. The other Ungor next to him sees this, and he is... Oh yeah, he fails and decides to run. You may make a free attack against him. When you attack somebody who's fleeing, not only do you get a free attack they don't get to defend against, but you get +1 advantage, and you get +20 to hit.
Okay. I like that. I like everything you just said.
So don't flee from combat.
So modifier 20 instead of 10?
You can change it in the drop down where it says challenging. Change it to average +20.
Okay. Let me.
Otherwise, you could do +30 because you got 1 for advantage and then so on and so forth. But
Stop with the numbers.
roll the critical. Actually, roll 2 criticals.
60 now? Oh, no, 66. Anyway.
All right, and then go ahead and roll another critical, please, if you would be so kind. Because you scored a critical, and then he dropped into 0 wounds, so he does another critical. So, yeah, Gunner, if you'd like to describe how you absolutely annihilate this thing.
Yeah, as he turns around, I catch his leg with my axe, and I flip him. And in mid-flip, as he's falling to the ground and prone in midair, he uses the momentum with his axe to slam him down right into the ground, burying his axe in his back.
And with a burst of blood and gore, and a crack of bones, he is no longer moving. At this point, the other Ungors get the hint and also flee. You can each make attacks of opportunity if you'd like. Again, this is at +1 advantage and +20 to hit.
Cylindra will not. Cylindra will make a little bit of a statement.
Oh, Gunner will.
Well, Gunner, you have nothing left to attack.
Oh, but it was another crit!
Oh my god.
Just let him do it.
All right, so here's what happens. Amaris, this guy doesn't need to defend himself. I'll roll the defense just to get that out of the thing. But yeah, you hit him. So as he turns tail, you hit him. He only had a couple wounds left, so you take him down rather easily. Gunner, you see the last one turns away from the family, and Salandra obviously is more focused on keeping the family safe. And as this thing runs, you just with both hands, you huck your axe, and it just goes head over handle, sailing through the air, and strikes this guy in the back, and he collapses into the mud, squealing. And when you wrench it free from him, there's a sickening crack, and he stops moving and struggling.
I love that sound.
At this point...
Sean, that's all your criticals for the session, by the way.
Wow, my gosh, crazy. At the end of this, Salandra, you're able to help get the family to the steps of the temple, where the last people of the town seem to be making their way through the doors, and the militia are starting to retreat and fall back into the temple. There are still many beastmen starting to emerge to fill the streets, but it seems for now their attack is kind of slowing down. You guys have a breather.
As we're walking up to the temple, I kind of nudge Gunnar and be like, "That's 3 for me. How many have you killed tonight?"
He grins with a fucking insane look on his eyes.
It should be 5, I think.
Please, take your refuge inside the cathedral. Please, take your time. Go inside. What are you both talking about? Counting? Counting is what you're asking. How many people you've killed?
Yeah, how many are you on Cylinder?
Okay, just don't ask me again. It's been at least 2 or 3. Regardless, that's what it's not in front of the townsfolk.
Salandra's right. We need to get back in the temple. This is a losing fight at this point.
Make sure that they feel safe. We have to make sure that first and foremost, and then after the fact, we defend them. Get back to it.
Before we get into the temple, could I try to what role would that be? I have a talent, acute sense. That allows me to notice things other people wouldn't. Can I try and have a look at this attack and tell if it's more organized than like a beastman attack should be, to see if someone's leading them or if it's just a normal raid?
Absolutely, yeah. Go ahead and make a perception test. Yep.
Yeah.
And your acute sense, is it for sight or hearing? Or smell?
Sight.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense, because that's probably an elf talent, to be honest.
Yes.
Right.
Where is perception again?
I'll ask my roll after the fact. I'll let Andres.
One of your allowing me to spot. Yeah.
Okay, so Amorous, as you guys are making your way into the temple, you take a look over your shoulder and look around. You definitely can tell there is some organization to this, and someone or something is clearly leading it, but you can't tell what. But you can see kind of on the outskirts of the town, just at the edge of your vision with the rain and it being night. I know you have night vision.
I have night vision.
Still,
yeah.
Like with the conditions, you can see there are some larger shapes, larger than the Ungors, that are clearly part of this as well, and they seem to be making their way into the town at this point.
I'm going to point this out to my companions. They probably can't see it, but I'm like...
Well, Gunnar has night vision too, so he can at least see the shapes. Solandra would need a perception test to make out anything more.
This is far too organized for a regular attack. Look, up there. My elf eyes see that.
What is it that you're seeing?
go ahead and give me. You guys can both give me perceptions. If you get more success levels, then you'll obviously get more info.
Okay. Here's mine.
Oh, a 99. Well, Solandrich goes blind, clearly from the rain in the eyes.
I haven't the slightest clue. Whatever the fuck you're trying to insinuate, I don't understand. But what I wanted to ask is any of my family present?
Like your personal family?
Any?
Are you asking me or them?
I'm asking you.
No, your family wouldn't be caught in a little shithole like this. No way. You're from a noble family. They're not here. No.
She gets a little bit downtrodden, and looks at the rest of the people, and goes, make sure there's enough water. Whatever we can do to keep them comfortable while we fix the situation at hand. I don't.
Well, why don't we take a little bathroom break here? It's right at our halfway point, and you guys can decide what you want to do when we hop back in.
Yes. I did have a question real quick.
Yes.
Apparently one of the languages in this game is just called battle. What?
So the battle is
like
it's like being able to like have some sort of combat oriented language that you can use with other soldiers to like
doing sign language in the forest or something.
It's that kind of stuff where you might have like terms that you use that indicate, to do certain maneuvers and things like that someone else might not necessarily know unless they're also trained in the military.
Okay. Cool.
I would be surprised if Solandra did not have that. Battle tongue. I think it's supposed to say just language battle. So you both have that skill.
Okay. Well. I'll be right back then for our break.
All right.
I forgot about my fucking little crown thing. I am a pompous elf. I should probably be wearing it.
Goddamn. I have to be honest, like, I'm paying attention to the story and everything that is going on in the background, but like, definitely had far too many White Claws at this point. But I'm trying to keep myself together.
Should get my water bottle. My energy drink just running out. Elevator music.
Why don't you eat something, Joey?
I think I need to. I had 2 White Claws, and that already made me a little like.
What? 2 White Claws are making you a little something. I'm over here drinking cheap Irish whiskey.
But
There's no such thing as cheap Irish whiskey. Price-wise, yes, but flavor-wise, all of it is good.
It's my favorite whiskey. It's cheap by price, but to me, it's might as well be gold.
Yeah, that's the thing. All of the alcohol here in Ireland is cheap in terms of price, but all of it is so good because if it wasn't, there would be a fucking riot.
Yes. This beautiful Warhammer moment brought to you in part by Bushmills Irish whiskey
Bushmill, Irish
and a Jim Beam glass.
I remember when Guinness tried to change like their main brewery location. There was actual like protests outside their current one. That's how obsessed we are with alcohol here.
Oh. Yeah, have some snacks, Joey.
I have snacks for days.
My daddy's outside swimming in the pool, and I'm sitting in here not snacking on nothing.
I wonder if Chris will give me any bonuses if I paint a Slayer while playing a Slayer.
Depends if you get him finished.
I can't speed paint yet. I'm not that good.
Well, it could.
I mean, I could finish. It just won't be good.
Dip him in the orange paint. Call it finish. All right. Well, having successfully survived the first wave of beastmen, the group of you make your way into the temple, where you are greeted with, a new map for starters. We're going to switch it over here.
Oh, beautiful.
Can everybody see? Everybody's
Yes.
got vision? Okay, good. And
The Walen Yutani Temple.
yeah, as it should be, clearly. Now, all of you are used to the sights of a Temple of Sigmar. They are probably the most common type of temple that you see throughout the Empire. Even in the north, you'll find one here and there, but down here in the Reikland, in the heart of the Empire, where the seat of the Emperor is located, they are everywhere. And
Sigmar Magnus is where it's at.
you can see that unlike the rest of the buildings in the town here, this is a stout, solid stone building, and obviously the reason why everyone is taking refuge here. It does have 2 massive windows in the front, as you can see, but they are guarded with heavy, heavy iron bars that would take quite some strength or even perhaps a war machine to break through. The door is also equally impressive, being a massive metal of some sort. Massive door with the twin-tailed comet, one of Sigmar's icons, emblazoned on the front. And once that is shut, there is a heavy bar that is put over that. I'm sorry, it's a wooden door. I'm just reading the description here. It's a wooden door, but it's got some of those metal bars to reinforce it, metal banding, and then they put a large bar across the door once they close it on the inside. You can see the temple is... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
The temple's not very big. Again, it's a small temple, but it's a small village. But it could easily fit the entire population of the village in here. And eventually you guys learn that there is there's a trap door here that leads to a cellar in the back, and that's where many of the people, especially those that have been wounded and injured, are taken to try to keep them safe. There's like a little staircase that goes down from that trap door, and the cellar is surprisingly big, so there's plenty of room both on this floor and down below. You can see at the back of the temple, there is a statue of Sigmar up by where the altar would be. And then there is a room for the priest and another staff member here as well. And there's also a small bell tower. You can see that there is a small tower up on the second floor, and it's accessed through this staircase back here. Other than that, the temple itself is probably a good 12, 15 feet tall, but it doesn't have an upper floor other than the bell tower. It's just that the ceilings here are quite high vaulted, as you'd expect in a temple. And it seems like this thing could probably take even a hit from maybe a cannon and still have some walls standing. So,
what about a minotaur?
Well, we'll have to find out. It'd have to be a big minotaur, but
here's the real question as to whether I'm going to be impressed by this temple or not.
A really, really bad relationship situation, so they're just not okay.
Here's the real question to see if I'm impressed by this temple. How many skulls are adorning this place?
Oh, there's a good amount of skulls. I mean, right here on the front, I count at least 4 or 5. There's one right there, and there's one on either side. I think
these look like skulls too up here. Yeah.
Yep. There's one right there in the middle.
Skulls aplenty.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the grandest, of temples, but it does have an appropriate amount of skulls considering the size of the temple.
Its skull to square footage ratio is adequate, I would say.
It is. Whoever built this knew what they were doing.
Skulls are very important in the Empire, in case you didn't read that part of the lore, Sean.
Looking to Gunnar, please, just, I know the way you feel, but just please, at least behave in somebody else's habitat. Just for a little while.
Oh, whatever you say, Silundra.
Can't you hear it? I look up to the rafters, listening. Those people, they believe in something other than ourselves. Destruction. Behave. The cascading of their voices. For a moment.
Oh, I wasn't going to start any trouble or anything.
It is at this point that you hear the voice of the woman who was outside as she approaches you guys. She says, appreciate the help. Good job out there.
What more can we do?
She says, you saved a lot of lives, not least the Tanner family. She's like, that'll definitely make you a few friends around here. And she extends a hand and she says, Elsie Frink, I'm the head of the militia here. Used to be a road warden.
Gunnar twirls his axe and catches it with just one hand, extends one, turns the handshake.
As she shakes your hand, she says, you've got my gratitude for what you did out there. We're lucky to have you. But it looks like we might be in store for a long night.
What's going on exactly?
Yeah, sure. All of a sudden, I heard the alarm, and beastmen were everywhere. And she kind of shrugs. You see there's a couple militia looking out the front windows. Occasionally, you can see there's a couple Ungors trying to stab their spears through, but they're not really making any real good effort or progress. So they're eventually driven back.
I have some insights to share that might prove important in this situation.
Kind of rolls his eyes.
She raises an eyebrow and looks in your direction.
I noticed a few things during the attack. For one, these beasts are a bit too organized. Secondly, I noticed up on the hill, outways from the village, there were some larger figures. I couldn't make out if they were just larger beastmen or perhaps something more dangerous.
Oh, well, that's not exactly great news. So it's not just some random attack then.
They all die the same, though.
Don't worry. As a future prince of Calador, I am honor bound to protect the innocent. I will remain and help you fight.
Gunnar kind of turns towards Solandra with his back a little bit to Amory and starts kind of mocking him.
Elsie,
You do a really good impression of that, honestly. I didn't even think you had it in you. It's really good.
Elsie gives you a stern smile, Amorous, and she nods and thanks you. She said, I think we're gonna need all the help we can get. She says, but maybe take a load off for now. Maybe see if you can patch yourselves up a little bit. I'm gonna make sure we've got some guards stationed here and there. And at this point, you can see there's maybe about 30 to 40 people, you guess, that have made it in here. You can see that there are two other figures that kind of stand out. The first is clearly a priest of some sort, and you eventually realize that this is obviously the Sigmarite priest that is in charge of the temple here. He's got the twin-tailed comet hanging from his necklace, which is just some iron bands. Almost like a chain necklace. His robes are fairly simple, not as extravagant as some other priests you guys have seen, but he's clearly marked out as a Sigmarite priest. He's got his head shaved in the classic fashion, although unlike some warrior priests, or I should say Sigmarite priests, he does actually have facial hair. A lot of them shave completely clean, but he's actually got a pretty significant beard that marks him as probably being in his 60s, if not older.
How shaved do they normally go?
Like full, like no facial hair is typical.
For a second when that image came up, I thought he was a wizard because of the fucking iron chain.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
You can tell that he is obviously the priest in charge. You come to find that his name is Father Stillman. And then there's another man, a little bit younger, seems a little bit more weaselly in his mannerisms, also wearing some simple robes. And you quickly realize that he's probably an acolyte of some sort. And you see this man, who you find out his name is Klaus Balk. He's like the assistant here. And you can see that he's actually going around trying to patch up some of the villagers that have been injured in this attack. And he's not terrible at it. Obviously, he has a little bit of training, but you can see that he's probably overwhelmed with just the sheer amount of people that have been injured, either from either a minor cut or bruise. And you can tell there's a couple other people here that have some serious injuries.
Immediately, Solandra is going to ask all of them, please, if you have the time, which I'm sure you do, cater to the lesser than, give them life, pray to Sigmar for their own sake, and we will do whatever we can to defend the situation. But in the meantime, please keep them safe. Thank you.
The priest nods to you, and he does the symbol of the twin-tailed comet with his hand to you, and he bows slightly. He says, "I understand you're the ones that helped out our sergeant outside, Sergeant Frink. You have our thanks. Fortunate to have you here."
And fortunate to have you with us.
And he introduces himself as Father Stillman, and after some quick pleasantries, he looks around at all of his injured flock, and seeing how overwhelmed Klaus is, he says to you, "Might any of you have any training in the healing arts? I'm afraid my acolyte is about to be overwhelmed with the number of injured we have."
Do any of us have? I have animal care. You got any animals?
Gunnar kind of shrugs, embarrassed. I'm afraid not. I'm sorry. I could do anything. I hold the bucket for your rags. Anything.
So you're gonna want to look and see if you have the skill heal.
I don't.
It is an advanced skill. So it means if you don't have ranks.
Oh shit! I do.
Oh, you do?
I do actually. Yeah. Let me rephrase. Let me retract what I said and say something else. I could help. Maybe I learned a thing or two in my combat days. Well, my soldier days, and my warring days.
He says, please, anything you can do. He kind of points to everyone, and there's a lot of moans of pain kind of echoing throughout the temple, and it's turned almost into like a makeshift hospital at this point. And as you guys look around, you can see there's a couple villagers here and there that have just some minor cuts and scrapes. Probably wouldn't take much to patch them up, but you definitely want to make sure
cut it off.
You want to make sure that none of them, get any infections, because that can be pretty nasty in Warhammer. You notice there's probably 2 or 3 villagers that have some broken bones in some regards. They don't appear to be major fractures or anything like that, but definitely something that would need some help to set straight. However, your eyes are drawn to one man who you learn his name is Old Hob Weiss. And he has a serious wound to his gut that is bleeding, and his guts are pretty much all but hanging out as people are trying to keep him more or less together. Gunnar, do you or does anybody have the surgery talent?
No.
Yeah, surgery's so extreme in this game, you need a fucking talent to do it.
It is an extreme thing.
Well, all of you look on, unfortunately, realizing that none of you really have the skills to help this man. And despite everyone's efforts to comfort him, he doesn't seem terribly upset that his life is about to end. But eventually, the damage and the blood loss is far too much. And within a few minutes, he is no longer living. And you can see blood just pooling around him on the floor. And, the acolyte, trying to do something, but unable to really stop it. And a couple folks nearby, again, given the symbol of Sigmar and the twin-tailed comet, and bowing their heads and saying a silent prayer as he passes into Mor's realm. But if you would like to help the others, Gunnar, you may do so.
Okay. He will, for the guy that just passed away, he'll remove his mohawk and a sign of respect and put it back on his head and then go see what he can do.
All right. So give me a heal test at +40 to do some general treatment of the people that just have some minor cuts and bruises. Clean out some wounds. Bandage them up, make sure they don't get any Nurgle's rot going on. Okay, critical success. Yeah, you get criticals and fumbles on skill tests as well. I don't know why it doesn't light them up, but yes, critical success. So Gunnar, you're pretty soon. You're like giving these people like a lesson in keeping their wounds clean, and you're pretty sure at least one person here has come away with some healing knowledge and maybe even gained a rank of healing. So you easily, it's child's play to you. These humans are, it's nothing for you to do. However, there are some that have some broken bones as well, so I'll need a second heal test. This one's only a +20. They're minor fractures. Mostly just need to be straightened, but
okay,
definitely want to make sure they're fixed up, otherwise could be bad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's still a pass, though.
Barely.
It takes a little bit. You're not used to necessarily working on humans. They're a different proportion than a dwarf is. Maybe you're a little bit too strong with your setting of the bones, but you do get them set nonetheless. A couple people through clenched teeth, nod their thanks to you or grumble, but they realize that they're probably better off after you've taken a look at them. And, this goes on for, a couple minutes. While he's doing that, Salandra and Amrys, are you guys doing anything?
Yeah, I would like to walk up to the head priest guy and ask him, you wouldn't happen to have a library here? I thought I might have a look through while we have a moment of respite.
A simple moment to allocate certain information that might help us in our prolonging, for better or for worse, combative situation. If you would, please.
Be more specific. You wouldn't happen to have any books containing information about beastmen?
Beastmen have been the ones attacking us.
Sure,
you must know something.
He shakes his head solemnly and he says, I don't have much of a library here, I'm afraid to say. Most of my knowledge is up here, and he taps the side of his head. It's like, I can tell you plenty about beastmen from my days in the army, but and you're welcome to take a look at my collection, but I don't have much.
Hold on. Okay, I have an idea here. This might be dumb. Well, I would like your input on something. Could you give me a parchment piece of paper or something, and something that I can draw with real quick?
He brings it, basically he brings you back to number 7 here on the map, and then to number 6. That's like his personal chambers. And he's got a small bookshelf with a couple books on there, mostly holy texts and things like that. Maybe a scroll case. But yeah, he gets some parchment and he puts it on. There's a little table over here, like a little desk right there. You can see if you zoom in. So he gives you that, and he kind of motions for you to do what you need to do.
I'm gonna try to do a rough sketch of what I saw up on the hill.
All right.
Try and see if he would know anything about it.
Give me a dexterity check or an intelligence check.
You
got the art skill?
Okay. Art, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Ooh, 94. It's not great.
First bad roll of the night.
I would like to invoke a couple of things real quick, if I can. My
hold on. Amaris, do you want to use a fortune point? If you have any, I don't know if you have any.
Fortune, or you said I can also...
You can do a dark deal.
We can help you too, by the way.
I mean, you're the only other one that saw it, and I don't think you tagged along to the office, did you?
I'm just saying, like, if it's something that you think maybe getting some help might benefit you.
Well, you can't assist in a skill unless you also have ranks in that skill. And since it's it's advanced, so
I have reading and writing.
I'm a former artisan, so he would probably have known that too.
Well, he rolled the 90
for future reference. Yeah, I don't think anything would have helped that terrible roll, but for future reference.
I'll take a dark deal. Fuck it, this is a one shot.
Okay, go ahead.
Ugh, Christ.
No, you mean you didn't have a great look, so you give like a vague shape, and he kind of shrugs. He says, "Well, it could be anything. It could be a gore. Hopefully, it's nothing larger, but one of the bigger ones, I assume." You said there's multiples. That's not good.
Yes.
Salandra, what are you doing?
In this moment, I think I'm actually going to throw my person involved in this conversation.
Okay.
I have noble blood. Any test influenced by your status, you are either born into the nobility, blah, blah, blah. You are always considered of higher status than others unless they also have the noble blood talent. I also have reading and writing. I think I want to throw myself into this situation and go, don't take my friend for a fool. Just because they can't read the same way that you do doesn't mean they're stupid. I see you. Tell us what you know now. And I would like to I don't want this to be an intimidation check. If that's the case, I would like this to be more of a. Actually, I want to slide some money over. If I
Okay.
can.
What are you trying to do?
What exactly are you trying to do here?
I don't like. I feel this is just me, but I feel like they are lying through their teeth. Can I just?
Well, if you'd like to take an intuition test, that might tell you whether or not how much you think he's lying. If you do think he's lying, if you want to do that first. Okay, let me.
Could I also go for an intuition test here?
Yes, it's a opposed roll, so I'm gonna roll his stuff secretly here. So, just a moment.
Fucking Christ, these rolls.
Yeah.
Guys, what's going on upstairs?
We can fight, but apparently we're dumb as bricks.
I gotta roll this twice. So. Okay. You guys don't roll great, but Salandra, you can tell that he is definitely not lying about anything here.
Okay.
And you would know, being a Sigmarite yourself, that most Sigmarite priests usually have some sort of combat training, and
Yes.
There are things called warrior priests in the Empire, and by far the most common are warrior priests of Sigmar, which are soldier priests that often accompany the army for spiritual and combat capabilities. And you did overhear him say that he used to be in the army, so you're assuming he probably was a warrior priest at some point. He does, despite being in his 60s, he still looks like he's a decent sized man. And, while he's not as ripped and jacked as he probably was in his youth, he definitely still has a frame that indicates he probably could, fight okay if need be.
All right. I look over to my friend Emeris, and I go, I'm white knuckling it, like trying to figure myself out, and then them. Understood? And then look over to Emeris and go, just abide. They're telling the truth. Let them speak, and we'll get the situation handled. Yes. Gunnar, what do you think?
I'm like elbow deep in blood, I think, while y'all are doing this.
I think at this point, Gunnar, you finish up. You found a dirty rag from somewhere that you're cleaning off, so now it's even more of it's a dirty and bloody rag. And you come grumbling in, talking about how weak humans are with their fickle bones and their, But you come stomping in, and you're done at this point. So you can see they're talking to the head priest, and you can tell obviously Amaris has tried to draw whatever he saw out there, but either he didn't get a good look at it, or he's become a really shitty artist in the last day or two.
I'm still groggy from sleep.
Yeah, they're discussing, the situation.
My hands are shaking because the adrenaline is wearing off.
Well, I'll just kind of walk in, not really knowing what you guys were talking about. All right, what's the next step? There has to be somebody with a plan around here.
Well, the priest gives a sigh, kind of looking out at the mostly empty temple, and he says, this temple should be completely filled. This is barely a third of our village. If we make it through this, it will be a dark time ahead. He says, but where are my manners? I thank you all for what you've done here so far. As far as a plan, well, he takes a little parchment out of a satchel that he has in his desk, and he starts to unroll it, and he hands it just kind of out, not to any of you in particular, probably to you, Salandra, because you kind of made a scene that you know how to read.
Yeah.
but he probably assumes the elf does too. So he hands it out and he says, there were patrols that came in through from Osserwald not a matter of a few weeks ago, and I had a chance to speak with their commander, and they've been keeping a tab on some of the local threats in the area, and they had determined that there really weren't any, or their scouts claim there really weren't any herds of beastmen nearby. They were at least a week's ride away, they told me, in the south. And, well, I received a carrier pigeon this morning from a cohort of mine in Osserwald, another priest, and he explains that the town council ordered the army north to deal with beastmen, but he says now that I have a chance to see these things up close, some of their totems and sigils match what he claims was seen up there in the north.
Oh, either the patrol that checked the area was incompetent, or there's some darker force at play here.
If you'd all like to give me, if anybody has any sort of military lore or skills, or just a general intelligence test, you may do so.
Apparently, I have battle language, and that's about it.
I don't have intelligence. I don't have.
Intelligence is a characteristic, so it's on your main page. It's one of your stats. Yeah, so just roll intelligence then.
Yeah. That's odd.
Ooh, a 1. That is also a critical, rolling a 1 or a 100.
How many crits is that tonight? Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
Fucking.
And okay. So, Gunner, you're not the sharpest spoon in the shed, as we can see from your intelligence of 28 here. But when you hear beastmen, your ears perk up and you start listening to what this priest has to say. And to you, with your critical, you're like, oh, well, clearly the fucking beastmen were just hanging around up north, and they've just done some sort of like a feint, or like, hey, we're here, now we're not, distracted the army to get them away from the village, and now they're attacking the village for some reason. As a matter of fact, with your critical, since you crushed it like a boss, you also think then to yourself, as you're kind of piecing this together in your head, you're like, okay, so they clearly made themselves known to draw the army away to come here, and then you're like, well, what the fuck do the beastmen want with this particular town? Like, that seems really organized and highly unusual to do something like that to make sure they would have uninterrupted time to come here. Makes you think there's something they must be after or they want.
That's what I'll ask them. What's special about this town here? Is there something they would want from you?
He gives you a befuddled look and he kind of shrugs his shoulders. He says, there's nothing much here, Master Dwarf. Just some souls to Sigmar eking out a living. I tend the flock. Klaus helps me. And we live rather simple lives. I mean, sure, we occasionally get a beastman here or there, or livestock going missing, or the occasional forest goblin, but nothing. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, the temple's been here for a long time, but I know of nothing like an artifact or anything of that nature. I mean, we don't even have a burial crypt here. We just have a simple cemetery outside.
I call bullshit. Intuition test.
Sure.
Yeah, I was going to say I call bullshit.
So suspicious. All right, let me roll his fucking thing here. All right, Gunner's still crushing it here.
I don't trust priests.
Wow, 18.
Yes.
Anybody else gonna test?
No. I believe.
I'll go as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, you don't have to. It's up to you.
Fuck, can I roll well outside of combat?
I was listening to Chris's podcast earlier today, and this particular, like the past like 2 podcast episodes, he's had one player that is just constantly in the 90s. It's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, that's Brian.
Yeah.
The curse of Firth is real. Amorous, you are convinced this guy is lying about something. You're not sure what, but you're like, he's got to be lying about something. Gunner, you're not so sure. I'm sorry, I should put that the other way around. Because you got a really bad fish. So
I thought you were like giving him misinformation. Like,
so Amorous, you don't think this guy has anything to hide. It doesn't seem like he would. You feel like he'd probably tell you because you guys have proven yourselves capable here. Gunner, you're not so sure.
I'm gonna kind of raise an eyebrow and look deep into this priest's eyes.
I'm sure many of people have died tonight. And if they're here for something, and someone knows about it, and if it's ever found out that person knew something that could help, oh, I'd hate to think what had happened to that person.
At this, you all hear shouting from out in the main central area of the temple, and you hear a loud bang against the door. And when you guys look, you can see that the door is actually kind of shaking by some heavy, heavy force that's hitting it. And you can see there are more shapes outside at the windows trying to stab at the guards. And you can see more shapes beyond out in front of the temple. What you do?
I'm not my gaze does not leave the priest.
Are you gonna try any sort of test here, or are you just gonna say what you said?
You know what? I think that what I said was kind of a harsh insinuation. So I'm gonna roll an intimidation. I'm gonna say, and with it, I'm say, time's running out. Last chance.
All right, go for it.
Shit. Why would I fail when the skills I'm actually good at?
So, despite Gunner's threat and obvious capability to be able to follow through with that threat, this priest has clearly seen far worse things in his day, and he stands up even straighter than before, perhaps with a crack in some of his back. He says, Master Dwarf, I appreciate all you've done here, and I appreciate wanting to get to the bottom of this, but I will not be threatened in my own temple. I have nothing to hide. I am a son of Sigmar. And at that's when the door bangs, and there's a bit of panic. Solandra, Amorous, what do you guys want to do?
Amorous will turn to the priest and tell him, go get all the wounded away from the door. Any that are left up here, anyone that's not capable of fighting, get them out of here.
Assist and continue with that work. Keep them away.
All right, so you see, obviously, him and Klaus and some of the other villagers that aren't injured or less injured begin moving the more injured away. What's left of the militia are gathering around the front, and you see Elsie commanding them to try to brace the door. And again, another bang, and you guys hear a crack as the bar on the door begins to give way.
None of us are ranged-oriented people, are we? No.
No.
Only the witch hunter was here.
Yeah. Well, not really leaving his gaze from the priest, Gunner's gonna twirl his axe and go aid at the front line.
Okay. Amorous and Solandra, do you do the same?
Yeah.
I follow suit.
Okay. As you guys are walking across this central area of the temple, which you guys can see is in the shape of a hammer, an upside-down hammer, but as many temples of Sigmar are. When you guys get to about here,
Stretch.
the door, the bar, cracks with a loud, audible smash. The doors get flung open, throwing several militiamen back. And in the doorway is the hulking form of a very, very large beast man. Again, you guys can give me lore, Reikland, or beasts, or just intelligence if you don't have those skills.
Man, I was kidding about the Minotaur, dude.
Too bad.
Oh, 99! Love it!
I roll well.
I'm dumb.
Salandra, it's up to you.
Alright.
I don't know, looks like a big Ungor to me.
Yeah, it's a huge Ungor.
Dad?
Oh shit, it's
What you got there,
oh shit,
Philip?
it's my mother.
Ooh, almost a critical fail.
Good lord.
Okay. Yeah, you're not sure what this is, but it is one hella big creature. Let me put you guys here on the...
Could be something dangerous. We don't know. Let's ask
Pretty
it
sure
for
that's
help.
my mother-in-law.
It could be her mother.
Dad's come home from buying cigarettes.
Finally! After so long.
So, what you see is basically a massive bull-like creature. It has a huge set of horns, and it is about the size of a... Here, I'll put that on the screen. You can zoom out. I just shared it to you guys.
Oh, it's...
Is it actually a Minotaur?
It is
I thought it was
a
going to be a
minotaur.
fucking
Oh my
ogre.
god, I was kidding.
So this thing is about the size of an ogre or a troll, all right? Stands a good, 8 to 10 feet tall. As you can see on the map here, it would take up 4 squares instead of 1, so it is a large-sized creature. This particular one bashes down the door, roaring. It's got a massive nose ring, a couple armor plates kind of ramshackly attached to it here and there, and it's got a... Let me double-check what it actually has. Has a very large looking axe that it's just wielding in one hand. It does not have a shield, as you see here. And it roars as it breaks down the door. And we have another combat.
We should run.
Hey, at least it's not the brass bull. It's just normal.
It's true. Now, you can see beyond this thing, there are many beastmen outside. And it looks like they're kind of standing back watching this thing as it smashes into the militia. Please add yourselves to the initiative track.
Oh god, me and my big mouth.
Look at what you've done.
As soon as possible, I'd like to roll an initiative or perception too.
Okay. Let's get that. All right. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to see where the priest is and what his reaction is.
The priest you saw him, he's in the back, he's helping get people into the cellar, like the injured. He's helping move them.
Are they going into this okay, so there's a cellar.
Yeah, that's what this little trap door here is, the door to the cellar.
Okay.
So that's what you guys told him to do, so that's what happens here. All right. I guess I should, I'll just add one of these just so they're on the initiative. Not that they need to be, but one roll from them. Oops, it says that's not right. Hold on. Why did it? Oh, here we go. Add some militia here just so we have them in the turn order. We'll assume that the captain goes on their round as well. So the Minotaur crashes through the door. the first thing that everybody must do is what's called a fear test. Because this is a large creature, it causes fear 1, which means you must get at least 1 success level on a cool test, otherwise you will suffer the effects of fear. Gunnar, you may have, being a Slayer, you might have stuff that helps you with that.
I'm fearless, yeah.
So yeah, check that out. So yeah, Amorous and Salandra, if you guys would please roll for me. I'll roll for the militia here.
Is this an average cool test?
No, it's straight up challenging. And Salandra?
So I do. Okay, so I only ignore average tests, the plus 20 tests for fear. With a single average cool test, you may ignore any intimidate, fear, or terror effects.
Honestly, at this point, I might as well stop rolling. We can just say I fail every time, because Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, so then just give me a straight up test here.
I'm trying to open my character sheet. Come on.
Joey?
I think Joey passed out.
No. I'm still present.
roll a cool.
I need you to make a cool test for fear against the Minotaur.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Fear test. Is where is that I roll it?
It's a cool test.
Cool. Right. Cool.
Marginal 40 versus 56 plus 1. Marginal.
All right.
Success.
You're good. Amorous is feared right now. And Amorous, if you go to your effects tab on your character sheet, there is one for fear. I think it's like the screaming face. If you can click that, it should give you the fear. I think that's what it is.
Got it.
Yeah. So when you're feared, you have -1 success level on any tests that affect the Minotaur, and you cannot move closer to it until you overcome your fear. If it moves closer to you, you have to take another test, and if you fail, you gain a broken condition, which is even worse.
How do I remove fear?
You just have to get 1 success level. You can test it at the start of every turn.
Okay.
And Gunnar, did you make your test, or are you good? Gunnar passes. Okay. Alrighty.
I hope he doesn't.
Well, with
What
that
would you have said?
Whose team are you on?
in
Passes
mind,
us in the other sense of the word.
the militia, for the most part, are either frozen in fear or actively backing away as this thing just plows through, goring one of them on its horns and smashing another one aside with its axe. Amorous, you can attempt your fear test. I'm sorry, that's the start of the turn. It is your turn. You can't get closer to this thing, but you can still take your actions as normal. So, what would you want to try to do?
How close is this thing to us?
I mean, it's like here in the doorway. There's a bunch of militia around it, and you guys are about here in the middle of the church.
Okay, so I would need to do another cool test to attempt to overcome my fear.
That's at the start of your turn when you do the fear test. That's automatic. It doesn't take an action to do that.
Okay.
It just happens.
What can I do here? I can't move closer to it. This thing's fucking massive. It's probably gonna throw some people around, so I'm assuming these are like pillars, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go hide behind the pillar to get some cover in case this thing yeets a couple militia towards us.
Okay, I'll tell you what, if you want to give me a stealth test, maybe you can get yourself a good hiding place and kind of get out of the line of sight.
Are we wanting to fight this? Yikes.
Okay. Not great. You're standing behind the pillar and you're like, oh, I'm an elf, I'm thin, right? But the pillar's just a little bit thinner than you, so kind of see your arms sticking out. But at least you've got cover. You do have cover.
Yeah, no, my intention wasn't to hide. It was more to get cover from a...
Salandra, what would you like to do?
In this case, You said there are people currently within this, right? Just
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's mostly the militia trying to hold this thing back.
I am standing straight outward with the militia.
Shit.
You charging in?
I'm charging in.
Okay. So give yourself advantage for charging. And because this is a large creature, you also get plus 10 to hit it.
Okay. I'm going to be combat, sword. So
Be sure you target him too before you attack him.
Yes. Sword, you said advantage, just give myself one advantage, or...
You give yourself one advantage for charging, and then you get plus 10 to hit.
I don't think you have it targeted, because that little icon in the corner isn't there.
Thought I did.
Yeah, double right click his token. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, a critical hit to start the fight off.
Astounding success.
All right. The Minotaur attempts to block. Roaring, it gets -2. So you do 12 damage to this thing, which is not bad. You definitely draw some blood.
Immediately, what I want to do is Salundra will dash forward, pull her sword out, stab him in the body, as it suggests. But what I want to be made apparent is her hat glistens almost. The hat definitely is the piece de resistance.
You're not even wearing yours anymore. I can't. My immersion's broken.
You're
It fell over.
You do a great flourish, and you manage to flick the rainwater from the feather, and it is now nearly perfectly dry. Please roll the critical hit as well.
All right. Don't laugh. I
love it.
It's serious. This is a really serious game right now. Stop laughing. Okay. I am actually unsure of how to roll the critical.
Just click critical in your attack.
And the text.
The green thing that says critical. It's a button.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Tis but a scratch.
That's okay. One bleeding condition is one bleeding condition, and he takes an extra wound as well. So, not a terrible hit. Salandra leading the charge. It seems that surprises both the Minotaur and the guards. And we are on to Gunnar.
Don't cower, you fools. Get involved.
Gunnar, seeing Salandra charge into battle, he's all of a sudden having flashbacks, and he's back at that fateful day where he's holding his dead daughter in his arms, and then all of a sudden his dead daughter has Salandra's face on it, and he kind of snaps to it and grits his teeth, and with a loud battle cry, "Grumpy Tokor!" he charges in.
Beautiful.
I know this isn't Dungeons and Dragons, but can I give my friend Gunnar inspiration for that?
No, but he will get advantage for charging and plus 10 to hit because he's a large target, and you get another plus 20. Oh wait, hold on. No, you don't outnumber him enough yet. So plus 10 and plus 1 advantage.
Let me shake the whiskey out of my keyboard real quick.
I'm
getting a little excited. All right.
You're totally getting into it, man. He's a dwarf covered in booze.
Right. Okay. And you said I get a plus 10?
Plus 10 to hit and 1 advantage for charging.
Plus 10. It jumps to plus 20 off the bat.
You put it in the modifier box.
Modifier. Okay, so I'm at 30. Ooh.
Hot damn. Gunner doing what Gunner does best, laying into the Minotaur. It shrieks in pain and fury and just outright anger, and it takes a huge chunk. Even smashed some of the armor pieces off with that hit. 17 damage, huh? Damn.
I'm telling you, see, that flashback really gave him inspiration to kill this thing. He doesn't want Solandra to get hurt.
Hey, hold on. I need my my calculator here for a second. Okay. Well, get another point of advantage because you scored a hit. Solandra, you should have another point of advantage as well because you scored a hit. So you should both be at 2.
Dope.
At this point, the Minotaur takes a swing, probably at Gunner because you hit it harder. Now, because this is a large creature, if you attempt to block with your weapon, you get a -2 success levels because it is so big and it's hard to parry this thing. So if you decide to block, whatever you roll, you'll get two negative success levels added to that. Or you can try to dodge at no penalty.
Dodge is a skill?
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, that's rough. You'd think a Slayer would have a high dodge. I guess they still are dwarves.
You can put points into it, but you gotta, they have a low agility usually, so.
Right.
Yeah,
Still dwarves.
Don't really care about being hit.
I mean, look, yeah, he's got 10 ranks in dodge, so he's leveled it up. It's just he started at 23.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll roll my luck with dodge.
Okay. Well, let me make my attack here, and then you may defend yourself. Leroy! Oh my god, you lucky bastards! Critical
Nice.
fumble. Okay, roll the dodge.
Watch me crit fumble here too.
Or dodge like a boss. All right, let's see what it gets here. 88.
Torn
You
muscle.
overextend yourself and stumble and twist your ankle, get a torn muscle. Oh, goodness. So, in its rage to try to strike back at you, and your expert dodge, this thing, trips over the corpse of one of the militiamen and stumbles forward with a shriek of pain, and it is completely out of position. And Gunner, you lock eyes, and you can see just a moment of doubt in this thing's look as it realizes it fucked up.
And it sees me just get a big fucking crazy grin.
Also, it takes a point of damage from the bleeding condition, so not only is it got a torn muscle, but it is profusely bleeding. The militia, let's see if they take heart at this or not. No, they are still terrified to get near this thing. They basically all have kind of backed up to let you guys do the fighting.
Smart.
Amrys, start of the turn, Amrys, make your fear test. There you go. All right, you can act as normal this turn. They can get rid of that fear test on your effect tab.
Well,
Well done.
I am going to charge straight at this thing.
Okay, so +1 advantage, +10 to hit because it's a large target, and plus another 20 to hit because you guys do outnumber it now. It's 3-on-1. So you should be at 1 advantage and +30 to hit.
Yeah.
Poor Minotaur just wanted to
Live its life.
I still
Yeah,
can't believe I called that.
get wrecked here. All right, it feebly puts the axe up to stop you. Yeah, it does okay here. So you have 2
I
success
forgot
levels.
to target it, sorry.
That's okay. You have a sword, so that's base damage 4. What's your strength bonus?
My strength, that would be S, right? So
Yes.
Strength
First
bonus is
number.
the first number, so 2.
Okay, so that's base damage 4 plus 2 for strength. That's 6. There's a difference of 2 success levels. That's another 2. So you've done a total of 8 damage. It's not a great hit, but you basically take the cheap shot, seeing this thing kind of on the ground, and
Okay.
yeah, it's hurt.
I want to add some flavor. You can fucking veto it if you want. But
No.
what I do is finally shaking myself off. I see it stumble as it tries to attack Gunnar. And after Gunnar dodges, I notice he's a bit lower than usual because obviously I had to move out. So I'm going to run up and I am going to quickly jump up using Gunnar's head as a boost to stab it in the arm.
I love it. To your surprise, Gunnar, Amaris comes charging in fearlessly, and with elven grace, uses you as a way to propel himself, striking this thing in the arm. And while it's not a great hit, it is very fancy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Solandra, if nothing else, he's cut it again, and he's definitely distracted it, and now you guys are basically surrounding this thing.
He'll look over at you when you do that, Amris, and he'll nod at you. All right, Elgi. All right.
That's exactly the kind of method I wanted to see. Fabulous. Nothing less than expected.
What can I say? Yudawi at a perfect level to use as a boost for my jumps.
Solandra, it is your turn.
All right. I'm going to keep the momentum. I'm actually going to charge forward yet again.
Well, you can't charge because you're in combat right now.
No, sorry.
So there's no.
Not-
I mean,
He's
obviously
charged. He can't charge any further.
I'm getting in the face of this Minotaur, and I'm going to try to not necessarily upstage my compatriot, but I've seen how well they've done, and I want to match it. So I'm going to use my sword yet again and attack.
All right, you give yourself plus 30 because it's large and you guys outnumber it.
That doesn't go to the challenging, it just goes to modifier.
Correct.
30. Roll.
Okay. Minotaur, regretting his decision. Oh yeah.
Failure.
Left arm, right arm, body, what's
Your
next?
melee weapon jars badly or slightly breaks. So, Solandra, you come in to do this attack, and as it tries to block, you actually hit the axe right underneath the head where it attaches to the haft of the handle, and you actually just cut the head of the axe clean off, and your blow goes through, striking this thing, and it staggers back with like this, just basically a stick now, and you all can see actual fear in this thing's eyes. And it's like basically, I mean, it's still about your height, but it's on the ground, like trying to back up from you guys. Gunnar, your turn.
If I may say just real quick, she wanted to protect everybody as much as she could, and having dictated that she was going to do so, in her mind she was saying, I will protect these people. Out loud she says, I made a promise made is a promise kept. As she flourishes her sword and waits for the next compatriot to attack. She goes, take your turn. He'll fall.
A fine blow, Dowie.
He'll fall eventually.
Oh,
To
fuck
one
me.
of us.
Oh, okay. Remember, it is an opposed test. So let's see what he rolls. So he's gonna win.
Oh,
do you
damn.
wanna use a fortune point?
No, I only
Take another dark deal?
I only had one.
Do you want to take another dark deal?
Oh,
Strangle it.
no. Gunnar has not taken a dark deal, nor shall he. Okay,
Oh,
thank you very much.
Grimnir.
Grimnir smiles upon Gunnar. I'll have you
Strangle
know.
him with your pants. Take
Well-
your pants and just choke him out.
So he does block with his basically big stick that he has, and he manages to kind of stagger back away from you on his turn. he'll use. Well, he's got advantage at this point, but he doesn't need to use it because he's a large creature. The Minotaur actually staggers down the stairs, back outside, and to the shock of the rest of the beastmen standing here. The militia are quick to slam the doors shut and basically put a makeshift bar to try to lock the door again. And then there's a bit of a cheer from some of the militia, and Elsie has a look on her face of disbelief at how easily you handled that.
Gunner's gonna go up and punch the door and shout, "Vile gore, you face the dringy!"
You can see through the windows, it's like pawing at the spot that's bleeding, and you see some of the beastmen trying to help it, and like it's confused, like it punches one of them like it thinks it's gonna hurt it, and then others are like trying to keep it under control, and there seems to be a bit of a scuffle between some of them as the Minotaur is clearly panicked at this point.
I love the fact that the moment we get into combat, I start rolling well.
I'm gonna roll a leadership. I'm not very good at it, but I'm gonna try and to tell the remaining militia or anyone around us to bar the door or start barring the door again. With whatever are there like pews or?
Yeah, they're already doing that. You don't have to even shout. As soon as that thing went back, like half the militia that are still standing just rushed forward and slammed the doors shut. And yeah, they're basically barricading it at this point because they don't have a bar left.
If it's flavor, can I just say that, like, based on how my character would have proactively done it, I want to inspire my people, so Salunda would have, like, at least tried to, without saying a word, inspired them to do so. And if that didn't work, Gunner would have done it.
No, between the three of you and the amazing display of martial prowess, you can see that, I mean, they're still scared because you guys are outnumbered and they're trapped in here and all that, and they just saw a Minotaur. They're more happy to be alive than anything, but they definitely have a kick in their step that they didn't have before.
Beautiful.
And, they're barricading in an efficient manner. They're not just throwing shit at the door. They're like, trying to make it actually stay.
Yeah. All of a sudden, there's a child who shows up in Gunner's arms, who runs up for protective reasons, and they go, "Daddy, what's wrong?" Gunner, what do you say to that situation?
I say we should probably check on the people in the cellar.
Yeah, probably. And let's hope the priest didn't suddenly become corrupted by chaos while trying to find a way out of here.
He sacrificed the whole town.
No, Amaris has a very valid point. We need to coincide with that. Who shall take point? Would you like me to? I would be glad to.
Lead on.
Okay. I take point to go and figure out what the fuck just happened.
Well,
all right, so Elsie, she kind of thanks you guys and just has a look of disbelief. But I mean, there's a Slayer here, and their job is to kill big monsters, so maybe she's not that surprised. But you guys did whip that thing's ass pretty well, so she thanks you with disbelief and begins to organize the defenses again. You make your way back to the cellar trapdoor and downstairs, and you can see everyone is down here. It looks like they've pretty much gotten everybody safe, and even the people with broken bones have managed to get down here safely and without further injuring themselves. And you see that at this point, it looks like Father Stillman has kind of begun to do like a prayer to Sigmar, and some of the others are kind of joining him, and it seems like he's managed to calm a lot of the people here.
Yeah.
And when they see you guys, they're clearly happy about that, and the heroes are here.
There is a father in the corner trying to console their child. And in that situation, I think Salundra possibly being covered with what might be blood or the validity of being in combat goes over to the corner and sits next to them.
Is your hat still shining?
Shining.
It's just so beautiful.
Just so shining.
Bright, you burn everyone's eyeballs.
Places an arm against them and then goes across the rest of everybody who was placed down here and wants to address the rest address the room without bothering their prayer. She will wait patiently for them to have a moment of respite before letting them know what may or may not be coming to them.
Okay. Well, let's do this. So that, Father Stillman, he's in the middle of his prayer, and you respectfully wait. So I'm going to use the bathroom really quick here if you guys want to discuss while he finishes his prayer amongst the three of you.
Beautiful. So I turn and I look to both Gunnar and Amaris. Is this a scenario in which they all come out of this alive? All of us come out of this alive? Or do we tell them the truth?
We're doing pretty good so far.
We are doing pretty good. So far, as you say. There is only so much Sigmar can do. And in this situation, I don't know how much we can outstand. Hopefully, we can protect these people. But the outcome may not be the one that we want. I can see that you, Gunnar, are protecting this child coated in stars and moons in a beige color who looks as if they are infatuated with you.
Let me see if I can put him to sleep.
No, it
Must be the beard.
might be. Amaris, what do you think?
Oh, I was in the bathroom.
Do we condemn these people? Are they protected with just our own persons? Do we wait it out? Will they live out the night? What is the situation?
If we stay within the church, we are on borrowed time. We need a way to, perhaps a back exit or something to get them out of here and out of the village.
Sigmar can only protect so few. We can pray as much as we would like, but it may not have the outcome that we would prefer. I don't know. My father probably wouldn't be the most loving person, but being a Drakenberg might help in this situation. Possibly. Possibly. That is actually something I would like to ask the DM.
What's that?
Salundra, daughter of Duke von Drakenberg.
Mm-hmm.
She has a name invoked.
Dookieberg, more like it.
Hell yeah. She's a noble of Uberschreck.
Okay.
It's like,
Can I invoke that currently with the rest of these people?
Sure. What are you trying to do with that?
I guess I can explain it after the fact, but our situation is a little dire. No?
understatement.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Even though you did fight that thing back, you don't know what else they have out there, and you're definitely still outnumbered.
You said I saw multiple large shapes on the hill, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I would like to address the room.
Yeah, at this point, Father gets done. Praise be to Sigmar, and they see you guys standing there, and he gives you a warm smile, obviously knowing that you guys kept them safe from whatever the hell was up there.
They killed this priest.
I have a grimace over my mouth. When I look and address the rest of the room, I go, do you all believe that the church would protect you? That it will keep you safe? It has not kept you safe. Do you know who did? These people. And I point over to Gunnar and Emerus.
And don't get me involved in this.
I shudder and I go over and I go, just fucking listen for a moment that I slap you in the back of the head. Just
the elf's just like creeping to the exit, like sidestepping away.
I gently tap you, or like fucking just tap you on the back of the head. I look at the rest of them. I go, this place is unsafe. You think that you can hide within these walls? They will come for you. Just like they did outside. We can protect you as long as we can, but it's only limited to what our powers can do.
You're slowly turning Spanish.
I am Spanish. ¿Sabes qué? No
Welcome to Astalia, gentlemen.
Yeah, I was going to say, there is a Spanish equivalent in this universe.
Welcome to Astalia, gentlemen.
Please. I think and I look to my friends and I say, I think you should just run. Run, and we can defend you as long as we can to keep you safe. And in the meantime, please continue.
There is a lot of murmuring and looks of confusion, shock, and disbelief. And several people voice concerns, such as, "But where would we go? And you're crazy! We're not getting past those things. We're 2 days from the nearest town. It's the middle of the night. It's raining. And why would we leave the safety of the walls?" All sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of hush hush, murmur. Not intimidation, but leadership, if I can utilize it. I want to try to give them at least a little hope. Because if you stay here, you will indefinitely die. If I can at least give you some time to escape, that would mean the small seconds, moments that you could utilize to escape. This place is condemned. You will not live. And if you do, it will be torturous. They don't just want to kill you. They want to harm you in the most awful way possible.
Okay, give me a leadership test. However, I'm going to say this is going to be at -10. I would make this -20, but you guys have done a successful job so far, and you've saved some people, so you've got some clout. But -10, because what you're asking them to do is kind of going against all reason to them. Yeah. All right, let me roll for the crowd here.
I would just like to make it clear that Salundra, it feels like it's back against the wall type of situation, where it's like, even if we all succeeded in defending them, they would still be backed against the wall, like I said, and we could fight them off for as long as we can, but they would still be stuck inside of this place and have no way out. So it would be best, in her idea, to run. and get as far away as they can.
Well, you can see from the reaction of the crowd that there is a mixed reaction that kind of washes over them. Some of them are considering this. Some of them look terrified. Some look at you like you're crazy. And basically everybody starts talking at once and kind of arguing about what to do. Gunnar and Amaris, what are you guys doing as Salandra does? Are you just watching or are you doing anything?
I'm looking at the dumb humans being dumb humans.
I'd like to scan the room to check if anyone is missing. Most specifically, the priest's assistant guy.
You don't even need to take a perception test because he's dressed differently from everybody else. So you see the priest and Klaus are down here.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't look like it. I mean, you didn't get tabs on every single villager, so you're not sure about that. But those two for sure are down here.
I'll say to the priest, there must be more. There has to be a back way out of here or something.
He says, "Well, there is a rear entrance, but who's to say if they're not out there too?"
I think they would have broken through by now if they were.
Perhaps we could go to the bell tower and see what the situation is.
What would make sense if we went to the bell tower? We would also be attacked. It wouldn't make
to see what exactly we're dealing with. We might get a better view of the church.
We know what we're dealing with. They're attacking the entire city, the town.
We have no idea about their numbers, however.
We know that they would kill us if we exit this place.
You could tell us if they're focusing on the church, and that if we could show us that there's something here.
I get a lower voice.
Guys, you might want to come up here. You can hear Elsie from up above.
I go over to the priest and I hand him my dagger.
Gunnar twirls his axe and runs upstairs.
I put it in his hand and I say, "Do not let this go. Keep them safe." And I also run up to look.
All right. Amaris, you go upstairs as well?
Seeing Salandra give her dagger to the priest, I will look over at the assistant and toss my dagger to him and say, "Use this to protect them, or at the very least, give yourself a painless death if they break through."
All right.
And then I'll follow up.
So the three of you make your way upstairs, and Elsie is standing at the top of the trapdoor. And as you guys make your way up here, you can hear kind of emanating through the windows up front. You hear some sort of commotion, and then you realize that it is some sort of chanting. Gorgarak. Gorgarak. Over and over. But it is in a dark, guttural tongue that leads you to believe it is the Beastmen chanting this. As you guys make your way to the front and to the windows, you can see
walls.
that... I'm sorry?
Nothing. No.
As you guys make your way up front, so you guys can see what the heck's going on, you can see that they've done a good job of barricading the door. You can see the militia huddled around the two big windows looking outside, like, what the hell are they doing? You can see at this point, the rain has kind of stopped. Really no drizzles anymore. But you see that the Beastmen are gathered around kind of a semicircle around the front of the temple. You can see the shapes of Gors, which are larger Beastmen, not as big as the Minotaurs, but definitely bigger than the Ungors. Kind of your regular size beastmen. They're still probably a little bit bigger than a human just because they're a lot more muscular, but that's what a full beastman would look like. You can see there's a few Ungors out there as well, and they're all standing, chanting. You then see a shape emerges from some of the shadows from like across the street. You can see that there's a building or two that has probably been set on fire during this attack, starting to crackle in the distance. Other than the chanting and the crackling, though, it is oddly quiet. You see a robed, hooded shape about the size of one of the Gors, maybe a little bit taller, emerges. And this is the individual that you see.
No, it better not be who I think it is.
This Beastman, unlike the others, actually wears some sort of clothing in the forms of tattered robes and a hood. His horns, though, are far more impressive than most of the others. And in his one hand, he holds a gnarled staff that has all sorts of trinkets and fetishes hanging from it, including a human skull at the top. Instantly, all of you just have this sickening feeling in your stomach as this thing approaches. I need all of you to please make a cool test. You're going to do what's called a corruption test.
We're still fucked, but not as fucked as we would have been if it was who I thought it was. You were talking about.
There are many things in Warhammer, being the dark, terrible world that it is, that can cause you to gain corruption points by being exposed to the forces of chaos and other horrible things. So give me a cool test, please. You need 1 success level. If you pass, you're good. If you fail, you will gain a corruption point. All right. Gunner, you grit your teeth and spit. However, your companions here each gain a corruption point as this creature of chaos lurks in front of you.
That's what you all get for praying to the dark gods and get second rolls, you sons of bitches.
Wait, it's not my intention.
The creature stands in the center of the semicircle, maybe about 20 feet from the door, just a little ways away from the bottom of the steps. And to your surprise, it begins to speak. Looking at the temple, not really anyone in particular, but you know that it's talking to those of you that are still taking shelter inside the walls. Humans, I am Kresrock Soulflayer. I speak for my gods. Much blood has been spilled this day, yours and ours. The gods smile, enough to satisfy all the Korgorak. Save me. There is a man among you. His life I claim. Send him out. Give me Klaus. Give him to me, and I leave you to your lives.
I fucking knew Klaus was off.
At this point, the militia, whispering, some scared, some worried, and even a few villagers have kind of come up at this point to see what the commotion is as they hear part of this speech. And then Kresrock continues. You do not challenge the Korgorak. We will find worthier foes. The tribe moves on. I will remain with only 7, my trusted god. I wait for Klaus. I will not wait long. As long as this torch burns, you breathe. Save yourselves. One life for many. And as he finishes this, you see that he draws out a torch that he jams into the dirt right in front of the steps, and he puts his hand over it, and you see a strange dark glow emanate from his hand, and the torch catches fire. And at this, they begin to withdraw just on the edge of your vision into the shadows. All of you can give me an intelligence test at +20.
Oh, you said it was him and 7 others, or 7 in total?
He said him and 7 would remain.
Okay, so that makes 8 of them.
Intelligence, you say?
Yes.
If that is not a skill we have.
It's a characteristic. It's on your main page.
So, I might be overanalyzing, but that would make 8 of them. So, Corn? Magic, probably?
Your character probably doesn't know enough about the Chaos Gods to know any specifics, but 8 is Corn's sacred number.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ooh, critical success from Salandra. So all of you can tell. Salandra, you are absolutely certain that torch is not going to burn for longer than an hour, at most. And at this point, you see that most of the Beastmen tribe begins to depart. And you can see just on the edge of the torchlight and on the edge of your vision, you can see the shapes of Krezrock and his 7 bodyguard standing outside. Pretty much maintaining that semicircle, but just on the edge of your vision. And Krezrock basically disappears because he's too far away. But you can feel that he's out there watching.
Immediately, Salandra will sheath her weapon, look to the rest of the group, and in that moment, she will remove her hat, take it to her side, and say, "We have a long night ahead of us."
Would the 3 of you please give me a perception test as well?
Perception.
Oh, critical failure. Crushing it. All right, so Amorous and Salandra. So, Salandra, you notice that there is there's something that Krezrock was wearing around his neck. You caught a glimpse, a glitter of something in the moonlight or the torchlight. You couldn't make out what it was, though. However, Amorous, you do have the acute sense talent for sight, so you do see that there is the Beastman was wearing a small silver amulet in the shape, the pendant was the shape of a hammer, which you would recognize as probably being some sort of Sigmarite sigil.
Sigmar.
Yeah, I know way too much about Beastmen. I need to try and ignore all that knowledge while playing this. Hold on. Yeah.
From what I understand, we are not to be caught in the dark.
Amorous, at this point, whether it's the creeping corruption going in or just impatience at this point, he charges off towards the cellar for Klaus.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, a lot of people have come upstairs, so you probably see him towards the back as everybody's just speaking, like, what do we do? Like, do we give them this guy or what? Can we trust him?
I walk up to
yeah, you find him.
And kind of I shove him up towards a wall and I'm like, why the hell do they want you in specific?
He kind of puts his hands up like, I don't know. I don't have any idea.
Gunnar, you have a childish arms. Why don't you throw the baby in his face?
I would like to do an intuition to check if he's fucking lying.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. That's pretty bad.
I'll do that as well.
I was gonna say, if you guys want to, you can all make an intuition test here. Ooh, who rolled a 5? Gunner. Gunner. Yeah, you see right through this guy. He knows exactly what's going on here. Oh, Solandra with a critical success. Yeah, you both are just like the Metal Gear Solid fucking exclamation point goes up, and you both know, like, yeah, this guy knows exactly what's happening.
I'm going to give you the count of 2. And when I put my hand up, you tell us the truth now. If you don't, my friend right here, and I'm speaking to both Gunner and Amorous, I go, you don't listen to us. You don't tell us the truth. They will take a piece of you. When I say a piece of you, it's all up to them. They take a toe.
Just give me the word, Solandra.
Whatever it might be.
If I get any more corruption, Amorous is gonna have to start wearing black and change his name to Dreadblade or something.
So keep that in mind when you tell us the truth. Now.
This guy breaks down in tears as soon as the two of you start coming down on him, just hammering him with questions. And his resolve just breaks, and he's like, "Okay, I'm sorry. It's my son. I'm sorry. We left him in the woods. He was mutated. He was changed. I couldn't ask Stillman to do it, so I left him there. I didn't think he'd make it."
What do you mean he was mutated? What do you mean he was mutated? What happened?
So Solandra, you wouldn't even have to ask that question. You would know that mutation is unfortunately a very common thing in the Empire when dealing with chaos. And you have all heard stories of people that have been born mutated. And a mutation in the Empire is a death sentence. If the church or witch hunters find out you have a physical mutation, you will be executed on the spot, no questions asked. And you've all heard stories of children being born with mutations and either being killed by their family or village or being left in the woods to hopefully die, or perhaps being left in the woods so that they don't have to kill them themselves.
But this place did not do that.
Yeah, I mean, you have no idea if the rest of the town knows about this or not.
This was the meta knowledge I was trying to ignore in my mind.
I'll say this. Solandra was aggressive initially when it came to that. And then finding out that the child had been in that space. She probably was even pointing the sword at them. Mm-hmm. She puts it back and listens.
I will add at this point that when he gets finished saying that, Father Stillman looks furious, and he screams at him. He grabs him by the collar, his face even turning a bit red, and he says, "That thing is your kid?" He's like, "You lied to us all." He's like, "It's here for you. You've brought ruin upon this entire town. Everyone here. This is your fault. I should strike you down where you stand in the name of Sigmar. You fool!"
She pushes him out of the way. And the priest, mind you, she pushes herself in between the both of them. And she looks to the priest and goes, "You had condemned this child prior to even knowing what they were. This town was not condemned by him. It was condemned by you. Faulty concept of what you think is truth. It does not matter currently. What matters now is us getting out of here alive. You can discuss this later on, but what we need to do now is work together to get out alive. Have you not seen what's outside there waiting for us?"
You hear people saying, "Hand him over. You heard the thing. They just want him.
thing, and she unsheathes her sword. You will not say this about this child. This is something that needs to be said later on. Love them as they are. We do not have time for this. What we need to do is escape alive. Together.
Gunnar
Don't go against each other.
and Amaris, you know that what Salandra is saying would pretty much be considered heretical.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's saying it to a Sigmarite priest, you can see the priest's mood darkens.
This might be lack of player knowledge, though.
This is lack of player
it could
knowledge.
be, yeah.
I can tell it's distinct lack of player knowledge.
I mean,
But may I say this though?
sure.
This is lack of player knowledge, and I understand that these religions within the world of Warhammer are very sincere. Salandra in this moment, I think, is being very sincere.
That's fine.
A witch hunter would lock you away probably for life, if not
We don't
worse.
have our witch hunter.
Yeah, this is life or death
You would
right
get
now.
burned alive right now.
This is life or death, and I think that she would not coincide with thinking of the religion currently and thinking more of that child and trying to coincide with that, at least.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I guess not everyone in the Empire is a raging fucking...
It's true. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, obviously, this guy's a Sigmarite, but he probably didn't want to kill his kid, right? So
Gunner's going to try to break the move, maybe even cut like right at the last moment of what Salandra says, try to and a move of protection over her as he looks at her. He assumes a kind of a father figure, a father role over her, fatherly role. We don't succumb to chaos, and we don't give in to their demands. We don't aid them in any way. That's heresy. They came here and they killed our king. We kill them or death.
Simply put.
there is a wild mix of emotions and shouting and arguing. Some people, the priest, declaring that what Salandra is saying is heresy, and that many people now suggesting that she be thrown out with Klaus. And there are others, you can see Elsie and some of the militia, having fought side by side with you guys, seem to agree that, it's better to fight than give in to these things. But it is clear that there's not going to be any sort of decision unanimous anytime soon. And there are definitely more villagers now than there are militia. And it's getting to that point where this could break out into like a frenzied mob.
Gunner, out of frustration, grits his teeth once more, twirls his axe, and stomps upstairs.
To the bell tower?
To the front door.
You guys are on the main level.
Oh, I thought we were in the cellar still. Okay, no. He stomps to the front door and starts removing barricades.
You said Klaus fell on his knees, right?
Yeah, he's like kind of whimpering and just cowering in the corner.
Once again, giving into some of that anger going on, Amaris will bend down, grab him by the collar, pull him up and say, "Well, you've got a choice now. Either give yourself up to them and save lives, or stand up and fight with us. It's your choice, not ours." And then I'm going to drop him back down.
Are you trying to convince him one way or another?
More or less, yeah. I'm trying to say either you give yourself up and we end this without a fight, or...
No, I get that, but is Amaris trying to push him in one direction or the other, more so?
More so the fighting with us direction.
Okay.
I put more emphasis on that side.
Give me a charm test.
Charm, okay. Ooh. I don't do any of my talents. No. Well, fuck it. Fuck it.
There we go.
He seems a little like he pulls himself together a little bit, and he's kind of listening, but it seems like it's kind of half-hearted. But I mean, it seems like if you pressed him on it, he'd probably try to join you in a fight.
I'm gonna pull that card. Salandra is going to say, I am the daughter of Duke von Drakenberg. This situation is not just simplistically us trying to survive. We have to work together. I want all of us to exit this place alive. Don't utilize your own religion in this situation.
It's also
Please.
your religion, but
Yeah, it's that. We have to work together. We will fix this. Don't worry. Please don't worry. We will fix this. Just understand that we are doing this for Drakenberg. My own thoughts hardly matter in this. I just want us all to get out of here alive. Please.
All right, give me a charm test, but it is going to be at -20 after what you said about sparing the child or things of that nature.
You said -20?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah, they are not buying it. No.
Impressive failure.
Whether it's the fact that these are simple peasant folk and you invoking the nobility just angers them more, or the fact that they basically just think that you're a heretic for what you've suggested, you can tell that this crowd is not going to listen to you. And you're afraid if you push it anymore, then they're going to throw you right out the front door with this guy.
Yeah, I hand my sword. Actually, my dagger was already taken away, but I hand my sword over to Gunnar, and I go, maybe they'll listen to you more if I don't have a weapon in my hands. You seem like you're doing a better job than I can. Give it a try if you think that they should listen. I'll stand over here and look like a fool. Look like a fool. Oh!
Yeah, I'm not sure I can continue.
I'll hand the weapon over to Empress.
You mean continuing for tonight, Scar?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're just about at our end time anyway, so let's do this. What would the three of you try to get the people here to do? Would you try to get them to fight or to give up Klaus?
I would get them to fight, like kind of Gunnar said. He said it's us versus chaos, and that's all that matters. It's kill them or we die in trying.
All right, Salandra, what would you try to do? Fight or give up Klaus?
As much as she has been trying to fight for the sake against her own religion, it would be to give him up.
And Amaris, what would you try to get them to do?
At this point, Amaris is too far gone. He wants to fight here.
Okay. Then we're going to do something really quick here. Gunnar, let's do this. Let's have you guys, because more of you want to try to get them to fight. So you guys can give me a group leadership test here. So whoever's got the highest leadership can test and get plus 10 from each supporting person.
I think I might actually have the most highest.
What is yours?
And if
Leadership is 55.
if
46.
if Salandra tries this, it'll be at negative 20.
Oh,
Yeah, so you're out.
But either way, you guys will get plus 20 from your companions helping you, plus 10 from each one. Whoever makes the
Okay,
test.
so it would cancel.
My leadership is only 18.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you should roll since that'll cancel out the negative, or I can roll, which will go up to 66 leadership for me with the plus 20 from
so
the help.
you're telling me to do leadership roll?
No, I'm saying it's you or me that can roll here. For you, it'll cancel out, and you'll have, what is it, 50?
55.
If I get the plus 20 here, I have 66.
Then you do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, Mars, I think that makes sense that you would step up after seeing how they're reacting to Salandra. So give me a charm test at plus 20, and I'm going to roll against
Arm
the
or
crowd.
leadership, did you say?
I'm sorry, leadership.
Yeah.
And I'm going to roll for the crowd here, and we're going to leave it to the dice to dictate what happens.
They came
Oh, plus 3. Wow. I wish you guys could see my screen. I rolled a 4. Amaris, you give an incredible speech. One that you are sure back home would rouse the people to fight and not give up hope. However, it appears Salandra's words have done too much damage for you guys to convince the horde of villagers. And even with Elsie's support and the militia kind of leaning towards your guys' side, you can tell that they start to give into the peer pressure. Maybe not Elsie, but the soldiers eventually definitely do, because they're just villagers too, really. And pretty soon, mob mentality takes over. They rush forward, dragging Klaus out, removing the barricade, and throwing him out to the street.
Oh my god.
They slam the doors shut, barricading things again, and you see the beastmen begin to circle like vultures. And you see Kresrock step forward out of the darkness. The spirits told me of you, Father. Are you proud of your son? I survived. I thrived after you abandoned me. Let me show you what the wilds taught me where you did not. He grabs Klaus by the throat, lifts him up, and you see his other hand that's holding the staff begins to glow with this swirling purplish black energy, and it begins to extend from his staff, swirls around Klaus, and he's engulfed by this cloud of magic, screaming in absolute agony and pain, and you all watch in horror as the flesh is literally stripped from this guy's body, leaving a bloody husk, which Kresrock then buries his teeth into his father's throat, ripping it open and throwing him to the ground in a bloody heap. And a roar goes out from the beastmen, and the chant continues, Kurgarak, Kurgarak. And our camera will fade to black.
Check, please.
Well done. I don't know if you survived, but